What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Pass the Barb. You're listening to the #1 outdoor podcast in the world. We're coming to you a day late and a dollar short here, but for very good reason. We're hot off Mr. Adam Bartusik's bachelor party. All the boys are up there. We had a killer weekend. I know we're going to dive into that a lot later, but we're coming to you with a fresh episode this week. I think this is going to be a good one. We got an excellent guest tonight. I think everyone's going to be pumped about, me included, on this one. So this will be super cool. But joining me tonight is the man himself, Adam Bartusik. How you feeling,
man.
bud?
I'm good. I'm all good now.
All right.
I could have recorded. So I just want to set the record straight because there was a post that went up on social media of me today, which is very fair. That's fine. But the post made it seem like I couldn't do last night either. However, Pink had tourney Tuesday last night. So
it was, but I wanted this to be about you, not me.
Yes. So we're spinning that around. Definitely Monday would not have been good. Yeah. I think we all, I think, like, in all honesty, we all just would have been like, wow, that was fun. And like just no energy whatsoever. So thank you for tuning into the #1 outdoor podcast in the world. We are going to dive into a lot of awesome stuff with our guests today, a lot of great stories, but also in general, there's just been a shitload going on in our lives lately. And also, this is really convenient. So Pink.
Yes.
You remember last episode when we talked about how we were switching it up so that all of us could be here?
I do. I vividly actually remember this conversation.
This talk of like, hey, if we do this, we will miss the Champions Tours and we will be good.
Which, like, really sounded like a fantastic idea.
And it really was until did Sobe just like not know about that he had a shoot up in Brainerd this week, or did it come up last minute, or did he just like fully know about it and just go with the plan and act like nothing was going to happen? You got three choices.
I like all three options, but I also feel like you're asking this like we don't know him. So it's like,
what would your pick be? Because I know what my pick is.
To be fully honest, I feel like he totally forgot about it until like the weekend.
Okay, so I think that's very fair too, because I didn't know. But however, I do have a different answer than you. I will say I believe he knew it the whole time, and he was like, if I just play this off like nothing, it'll just go away.
Okay, that's valid. I can see that too. Okay.
But I didn't even know he was going to Brainerd after until I was following him leaving the bachelor party. Yeah. And like he turned right. And I was like, where are you going?
Yeah.
And then I called him. I'm like, where are you going? He's like, oh, dude, I got this like photo shoot in Brainerd. I was like, oh, for like a day or two? He's like, no, till Friday. I'm like, the whole week. I'm like, you haven't even dude, he's been gone as long as I have been. I mean, we're talking, let me do the math here.
Well, it was like probably like 15 days, probably.
It'll be one, so 7, 14. Yeah, but by the time he gets home, it'll be like 17 days. Oh boy. Did I lose Ryan Pinkalla? I think I lost Ryan. This is great. Now we're solo on the podcast.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're back now. I thought I was solo on the podcast all of a sudden. I was like, oh my God, this is my worst nightmare. Oh my God, it happened again. Pink, what are you doing to your Wi-Fi?
All right, give me 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Pink's got to go hotspot on this. So anyways, Ryan or Sobe is not here right now. But yeah, we're still the #1 outdoor podcast in the world with the shittiest Wi-Fi in the world by one of our by our host, I should say.
Someday it's gonna be dialed, dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be real good. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna kind of dive into a little bit of what's been going on in our lives lately. Maybe a little bit of what in the world's been going on, and then we'll have a great guest rolling in. But Ryan, did you get your Wi-Fi changed?
I think so.
It seems way better now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. So anyways, what you been up to, dude? What you been up to until Bachelor Party Weekend?
I mean, honestly, just like work has been kind of busy lately, so that's highly unfortunate. But dude, I've been trying to fish as much as I can. So like doing some tourney Tuesdays has been fun, and all that stuff. But I definitely have been trying to spend some time getting gear ready. Like I feel like I've just been changing between musky fishing, bass fishing, getting ready for some other stuff, and like I have not.
Oh no, it happened again.
Piles of stuff in the garage and whatever. So just trying to get the boat dialed in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel ya. I'm currently in the process of before Bachelor Party, I was I've just been editing a lot and catching up on a lot of work, getting everything ready for the Champions Tour. But right before that, I had my second of 3 tournaments of the year, the Minnetonka Classic. Fish out with our boy Griff every year. We fished it for like, I don't know, 7
a
or 8
lot of
years.
times, right?
It's been a long time. That's probably the longest tournament I've fished. There's been a few gaps in there, but not many. Could be honestly almost. I think Sobe and I fished the first one ever together when we were like, oh man, I might have been 17. He might have been 16.
Oh, really?
Like we might have needed adult signatures on the entry forms. And we fished in Sobe's Bass Tracker, if you remember that thing, the aluminum one. So we fished it in that. But so Griff and I fished it. I got out to practice Thursday and Friday. Pretty standard for him and I. We just split it up, largemouth, smallmouth normally. I did a little bit of largemouth fishing on Thursday morning. Thought it was pretty good. But as is always with the Minnetonka Classic, Saturday, the Minnetonka Classic, if you want a boat weekend, you can pencil this one in every year because every year it is 82, bluebird, not a lick of wind. I mean, I am talking the first just beautiful day of summer. And if anyone knows anything about the largemouth on Minnetonka, they absolutely fucking hate that. Like that is the thing they hate the most. So, we rolled out there with a bit of a game plan. It was kind of cool because looking back at this one, I had no reason to think we were going to win it, but I just felt really confident that we were going to do really well. Couldn't really tell you why, just kind of had a calming presence about it. And I texted Griff. I was like, I think we're going to do really good. So, we rolled out. We got a really good boat draw, which I would like to say helped, but we visited the first 4 bedfish I had marked and none of them were there anymore. So it didn't matter. By then, everybody else was launched. And so then we went to our 5th one, started the day with a 463, which is legitimately the largest smallmouth bass I have ever caught on Lake Minnetonka. I have seen a couple that I think were bigger, but they were big females that I had no chance of ever catching. This one was crazy, and I thought it was like 3.5 pounds. So started the day awesome, and after that, we ran to another one I had found, caught a 388. I figured that one was pretty big, but I didn't know it was quite that big. And then after that, we went to after that, we decided to go largemouth fishing, actually, which was super sick. And sorry, Pink ended up dropping out, but I'll just continue telling this story. This is fine. He doesn't need to hear it anyways. He can listen back. So we ended up going largemouth fishing, and we pulled up to our largemouth spot, and on Griff's, it would be his like 3rd cast on our largemouth spot, just chucks in 446. So now we have a 463, a 446, and a 388, all on the big side of our live well, and we have caught 0 other bass, and it is 8:30 in the morning. And that was Griff and I have finished in the top 10 of this tournament, a substantial amount. in our lives, I would say. And the other thing is we have always been one bite short. So this year we caught those. I kind of looked at them and I was like, well, now we just can't fuck it up, basically. Pink, are you back?
Yes.
Okay.
This is always gone. I'm sorry.
Do you just want to restart this, or do you just want to edit around it?
We'll just clip it out. It's fine. Let's just roll.
Well, I just kept telling a story, so you can act super surprised at the story if you would like. It was a good spot.
Sit. Okay, perfect.
So how do you think? Yeah, what's your reaction to what I just told? Cold reaction. Here we go. I'm at a point of the story of the Minnetonka Classic, so this will be good. What's your reaction right now?
I honestly think that level of hype is hard to pretend is real. Like, this is the kind of stuff that you really you can't write, you know?
Yeah, so this is good. So now we'll catch up. So I had just gotten to the point of telling him we put our third fish in the live well, and it was a 446 largemouth. And I looked at Griff and I was like, so basically if we lose this one, we fucked it up. So let's just not fuck it up. And we ran around the rest of the day, caught some 3-pounders, ended up doing the whole deal. And yeah, it was honestly super fun.
Well, and you guys have like fished that so many times, like you kind of know like what it takes. You know what I mean? Like you said, you kind of knew like we got the bag to do this. Like let's do, finish it out.
Yeah, we had the meat and potatoes. We had the hard part done. So it was like, okay, just fill the bag now and get it rolling. So we we had that done. We had like 20-ish pounds at like 10:30, 21 maybe. And we ended up running back out to go smallmouth fishing. And I found another one. And it was actually paired up and spawning with a female, which if anyone knows anything about paired up smallmouth, that's like a death sentence. Those fish are impossible to catch. Whereas with largemouth, you can get them to bite. You can get the female. When smallies are paired up, you don't got a prayer. But we ended up just getting a little lucky, and I got one of them to bite. I had to come back to it several times over like 2 or 3 hours, and kind of at the end was able to get it to bite. And that was a really cool moment for Griff and I, because we like net it and we like looked at each other and I was like, I think we just won.
Yeah.
Like, and like that was one where you're like, okay, like that was it.
And that was the one that you had the video clip of, right?
Yeah, Griff got a Snapchat video of it.
That was sick, dude.
We were sitting on that fish for a substantial amount of time for him to be bored enough to be like, I'm going to Snapchat it. And then just that it happened to eat at that exact time too was crazy. So yeah, super cool. Got in. I mean, we took the lead. We were like the 5th team to weigh in, and
that's almost like more stressful though, right? To like watch all these other people weigh in after you drop a bag you think might be good enough to win.
Yeah, I don't honestly, dude, it was just like, I felt like we caught that fish and I was like, I think we did it. You know what I mean? Like I was never really that stressed.
Okay, well that's good
though. During the weigh-in, which is kind of crazy. Like it just felt like it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Like it really just felt like, dude, you don't go out on Tonka and your first 3 fish of the day are freaking like 13.5 pounds. That doesn't, they're 14 pounds, whatever. It doesn't happen. Yeah. So that was sick. So super pumped on that one. Definitely. That was like kind of like the Jude. That was a life goal, not necessarily do it when I'm 31 goal. So,
well, and I know you guys were really pumped to fish that one too. Like, it's not like this was one you guys just jumped into randomly.
Yeah. Do it every year. Super happy about it. Hardest. I mean, one of the hardest fields in the state, one of the biggest fields in the state like Tonka's big, but it's not that big. You get 100 boats out there, it starts getting tight. Yeah. So yeah, it was sweet. Very, very cool experience.
How did some of the other boys do?
Ooh, Connor did not do good. Connor's like normally prototypical like top 10er in that one, but I think he lost a lot of fish, so he didn't do great. But yeah, I don't know. It was just fun. But then after that, I immediately drive home. Basically pack up all my shit because I have to drive up to Lake Vermilion to film the Champions Tour event.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable. Did you watch that on the Real Live Well app?
I mean, I saw a little bit, I was kind of following it, but I mean, like it was during the day, so I was kind of in and out a little. I mean, I honestly didn't pay attention to it till I saw some posts on Facebook about how crazy it was, and I was like, I might as well see how this is going.
Yeah, so like to give people an idea, so Lake Vermilion's in northern Minnesota. Obviously, smallmouth are pulling up to spawn everywhere in the Midwest. You can't avoid it. Unless you do a tournament after June 20th, you can't avoid it. So they're up there, and I get up there, and I knew spawning smallmouth were going to play, but the thing is, there's so many. And for the record, for everybody, if you're new to the #1 outdoor podcast in the world, I film all the Champions Tour events. I don't fish them, so I tend to write a lot of the articles and stuff like that for the website. But I kind of had a feeling that spawning smallmouth would play, but basically everyone I talked to was like, dude, there's too many fish in Vermilion for it to just get one on spawning smallmouth. You're going to get into a pre-spawn school or a post-spawn school or something like that and light up 50 of them. And I got up there the day before the tournament, and I think every single guy came up to me and said, it is the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen in my life. I think every fish on this lake is on a bed. And I will acknowledge all of them, everywhere, every square inch. Dude, you could just drive to a bank and there's beds. Not even primo spawning grounds. There was just beds. The whole lake decided to just go spawn.
Yeah.
It was actually crazy. So, yeah, we went out. Everybody in practice was like, dude, I legitimately have caught 100 fish every day. I'm like, what? So yeah, they went out, and Hunter ended up breaking the all-time weight record. I think I should have brought the actual stats, but I think he had almost 130 fish, maybe 127 or something like that for 280 something pounds.
God. That's insane.
Dude, Panger did the math on BTL, and he said, so taking out drive time or anything, this doesn't even include drive time, just 8 hours of tournament time. He caught a 2.25 pounds bass every 3.5 minutes for 8 hours.
That's out of control.
That is so many bass.
Damn.
That's averaging 16 to 17 bass an hour with catch, weigh, release, photo, back. Crazy.
Right?
Just nuts. So go ahead.
On that original record that got broken, what you said, it was crazy, right?
Yeah, I filmed Rasmussen do it, and he caught, it was 98 or 99 bass. He didn't even get 100, and that was crazy. But this was honestly, this well surpassed that level of craziness.
Damn. Yeah, I can't even imagine that.
Dude, everybody. Dude, Sobey caught almost 100 pounds and took 32nd.
Right.
There was that many fish caught.
Yeah, it's just sick, dude.
It took 170 pounds or 150 pounds to get paid.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, this is after everybody beat them down in practice, too.
Yeah, and they just kept coming. They were in peak middle spawn window. Peak 3-day middle spawn window. It was crazy. And then, so for people, I know there's going to be people oh, they just caught the same spawn fish over and over and over again. I filmed that whole event. Number one rule is they can only catch a fish once. All those fish were you're staring at them. It's not like they're hidden. They're all shallow, and the water was super clear this year. So you're just there it is. Super easy to do. Everyone would just catch one, move on. Number two, nobody was on top of each other. It was unbelievable. Nobody ran, there would be 2 guys in a cut maybe, but there wasn't 10 guys on a bank just rolling through the same fish. It was so spread out. It was honestly unbelievable. All it made me think of was, I cannot believe how many bass are actually in this lake.
Had you spent much of any time fishing there yourself before?
I've fished like 3 tournaments there now. I've done okay. Nothing ever crazy. But I've been there for like an early May tournament when they're pre-spawn. Super fun.
Yeah. Gosh, that's crazy just to think about the sheer number. Because I think on that app I was watching, and it tells you like how many bass have been caught in the whole tournament.
Yeah, it ended up being 3,999.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like 5,000 pounds of smallmouth or something stupid.
It was unbelievable.
Just sick.
I have literally never seen anything like that in my life. It was like, I joked around because like I'm taking all the photos, and like the guys who are really catching them, I'd like take photos and then like make a couple casts and then catch another one. And I'm like, oh, I had time to like type down an Instagram caption for this post. Yeah. I just had to ignore Nate and Hunter. Like, because I'd take photos and then like I'd be like, okay, back to my phone. And I'm like typing something and I'd hear splashing, turn back around. I'm like, oh, it's a different one. Take photos of it, turn back around, start typing again. Here, zzz. I'm like, no. I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't need photos of all of them.
Yeah. It's just wild to like just see that much catching by, like you said, by everyone. It's not like one dude.
Well, and here's the thing, like, honest question for you. Like, Nipper and I talked about it after when he took second. How do you win? Like, what does he do better to catch another 20 pounds? He caught them every cast.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you almost have to get lucky, right? And get a couple that are a little heavier.
It was crazy. It was just like, obviously Hunter pulled into a pocket that had a couple bigger ones that moved in. But at the same time, it was just like, it's honestly remarkable how fast I caught him. It was crazy.
Yeah. Well, and like what separated guys that caught 100 from guys that caught 200? You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's what I wish we had Sobe here for this part, because I was because like he told me afterwards, he was like, I thought I was cracking their ass. And then I'd be like, I'm 80 pounds back. And like think to myself, if I think I'm cracking them, what are they doing?
Right. Yeah. It's nuts, man. Seriously.
It's so many fish.
But when the bite's that wide open, how do you even, wrap your head around it too? Especially in an every fish counts type deal. I don't know. That's just, I don't know. Without having been there to experience it, it's hard to even like fathom that.
It was, I'm dead serious. Every square inch of every bank. Like, there were 3,999 bass caught. I believe that's a number. And they didn't catch them all. And like Vermilion's so big, and there's so many corners of it, and there's so many pockets. I would venture to guess that at that point in time, there had to have been somewhere between, and like they didn't catch every fish in a stretch either. Like there were just so many of them. You just kept moving through. I would venture to guess that there had to have been 15 to 25,000 smallmouth on beds.
Yeah. Or more. Who knows?
Or more. Wrap your head around that.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was the most weight that will ever be caught ever. We always say that, and then records get broken, but like,
based on like what you saw though, do you think that'll ever happen again?
I think it can happen on Pelican. Yeah, where Ras set the actual record. Just because there's so many 3-pound bass. But it's funny that like we've always said Vermilion was capable of a record. But then it's never broke 80 pounds and every other time of year because the bite always gets tough. But then seeing Vermilion go like absolutely wide open.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
Yeah. That is crazy though. Like just the whole thing.
Everything about it.
Video.
But yeah, man. So that was kind of what I did, and then we ran up to northern Minnesota more for a bit of the batch party, and that stuff we'll get into. But you got what else? You had a little Tourney Tuesday fun last night, didn't you?
Yeah,
we tried to recruit our guest to be your partner, and I think he declined.
I didn't ever even ask him. So
never mind. Okay.
Yeah.
I know he's always wanted to fish a Tourney Tuesday. He's an avid viewer.
Yeah. So in last week too, yeah, this is the second week this week. Last week we took 5th place.
It started out hot this year,
which was not bad. And like, we didn't fish clean last week either, so that was a bummer. But this week we did. We got second last night, which was super fun on a lake that I kind of got my ass kicked on last year. But
that's honestly surprising to me, just because that lake is so your style.
Yeah, and I don't know. I didn't put it together last time and whatever, but I felt like I had a decent game plan going in, and like literally we caught the bulk of our weight on the first spot. And
so like you and B-Rock are looking at each other like, oh, we're gravy train.
The biggest fish of the night I caught on my 3rd cast. And
it was
like a 3 something 3/4 somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had, I would say in the first 10 minutes we had 3 in the live well, and we're like, and then like these Tourney Tuesdays, that's like huge. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, getting the pace going is massive.
Yeah, so I would say we had our limit in maybe an hour. So we were feeling pretty good. I'm like, dude, we're a couple good bites away here. We called a few times, and we're calling ounces, and we had 2 small ones to get rid of. And it just was like, after that first hour, it was so tough to get a bite, like at all.
Was it just like glass calm, or like,
no,
was there a reason, or just?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. It was just fishing pretty stingy. Like literally our first spot was absolutely on fire.
Were you fishing pads right away, or?
We fished, like some pads and like shallow slop. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was all, I would say all of the bites were in under 2 feet of water, like really shallow. And
great.
And obviously there's pondweed and coontail up everywhere, like super thick all over. But yeah, there was good wind. It was a little bit overcast, and like, got more overcast as we went into the night. And yeah, bites were not easy to come by. A lot of teams struggled. Like it was not good. But yeah, we caught a handful more, probably half a dozen more keepers. But we got one really good bite on a spinnerbait that was a major call. And yeah, we just poked around the rest of the night on a whole bunch of new stuff and never really put anything together. I had one that really would have helped. It ate a buzzbait about halfway through the night, and like it bit it, never got hooked. I threw back across it. It bit instantly again. Didn't hook that. And then we milked it forever with frogs and just couldn't get it to bite again. But it was probably a 2.5 or whatever. But we had one in our that we could have got rid of with that. So that sucked because we missed winning by 0.1 pounds.
Oh my God.
So I was like, son of a bitch. Like we were that,
that 2.5 actually mattered.
1 minnow away. 1 minnow away. So.
God dang. But getting the Tourney Tuesday season rolling. Oh boy. We're battling the pink Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
there you are.
I know. And there's lots more fishing to do, so I'm psyched. There's some good lakes on the schedule coming up here, but
cool.
We'll see. Once Sobey's back, because we actually signed up as a team, but he hasn't been there yet. So
yeah. But okay, we'll have our guest on here in a sec. We're gonna do real quick. What in the world's going on? I got 2 good ones here for you, Pink, that I think you'll enjoy. Number 1, just found out today. 95% sure this is factual because I did look into it a bit, but I'm in so disbelief of it. I need to see it actually happen.
Sure.
But apparently it passed in the Senate. Minnesota now will have a continuous bass fishing season.
Yeah, I heard this as well. And I'm curious to see like how it played, because I think now that it's passed, they still have to make some rules around it, right? Like
yes.
It's not just like this automatic thing. But yeah, no, it sounds like it's a go, pending some like regulation changes and stuff. So,
well, and I hope the regulation, like the only way this would get better now that we all get to do it is if smallmouth, the possession deal went like end of October, so that you can't like keep wintering ones.
Yeah, or something like that, or that the limits are lower at certain times of the year or something, or whatever. Yeah. But
just because right now we miss out on like all of September for tournaments and other, just other activities. And it's like, why? Like, this is like the healthiest time of year to catch them and weigh them and release them. So you have that. And then the continuous thing too, dude, could you imagine if like they actually did continuous for bass now? Could you imagine if we could have like a Lake Minnetonka April 30th bass tournament or like May 5th pre-spawn?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Some of these lakes.
Well, and like all the areas where you're crappie fishing and you're catching all these giant pre-spawners,
Oh, it'd be crazy.
And if you could actually target schools, like big ones, and you can't even throw at them,
Yeah, dude, if you could target them, it would be crazy. So we will see the news come out on that. See how that one goes. Other thing, I've seen it getting posted by Meat Eater a ton and Outdoor Life a ton. I'm sure you're more fairly caught up on it, Pink, but a ton of different legislation going in and stuff on the sale of public lands, potentially.
Yeah.
And obviously for what you do as a DIY public land hunter.
Yeah, but it's more than that too, right? It's not just about hunting. It has more to do with just the, what these areas were intended for, and that they should be for whatever you want to do for anybody, right? And so there was one major win, I guess, on the public land side of things when that initial bill came up, that they took that part out of it. But there's other outlets like Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, and like even Onyx Hunt has been a really big proponent of like putting out information about what's actually going on right now. So I would encourage people to go check those out, because those are the best outlets for like up-to-date news on this stuff. But if you aren't aware of the whole deal, that there was a lot of public lands that were in jeopardy of being sold off by the federal government, basically for like development reasons, or build housing or whatever,
paying off debt.
Yeah, and like the justification was basically like, well, no, this land isn't being used for anything, but that's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
Like that it's just there. And if for whatever reason you wanted to do something there, it's public for your enjoyment or whatever. So that's a cool thing about this country, that we have access to that kind of stuff. So definitely something to stay up to date on. And just, if there's places where you can put your input in, it's worth doing, because it sounds dumb. It's like voting, right? Where you're like, oh, just one guy, says something, no big deal. But enough people get together and say something about it, we can actually, influence some of this stuff. So,
yeah, especially since a lot of this has to deal with exactly what we do.
Yeah.
Like it directly affects us a lot.
Well, it directly affects us and the future of other people that want to do this kind of stuff too,
Yes.
So,
because here's the thing is, once it gets sold, someone who buys it isn't going to go like, I'm going to give it back.
No, things only get worse from here. So,
you don't go down that slippery slope.
Yeah.
So, just make sure you pay attention to it. People like Pink said, Onyx Hunt and Maps, all that. They're doing a great job putting out info, keeping it up to date, and just making sure you follow it. Highly, highly, highly encourage everyone to keep their eye on it. But now enough said. It's time to have our guest in. He got home probably last night at like 2 or 3 in the morning, because I was texting him, and he said he still wasn't home yet. So we are pumped to have him on. Great friend of the podcast. Going to dive into a bunch about him. He's a legend in the bass fishing industry. I could have said something really mean right there, and I think you just run it back and say it anyway. Okay. Legend in the bass fishing industry, not necessarily for catching bass, but for talking about bass. My St. Jude tournament partner, an absolute stone cold killer. He does catch the absolute living shit out of fish. He's so fun to fish with. We got Mr. Matt Pangrac.
Those are 2 gold medals right there.
Bart. Oh, that's right. Olympic champion.
I don't think you get those unless you catch bass every now and then.
Yeah. What'd you get back from? Where are those 2 gold medals from?
Chichuo, the Pan American Sport Fishing Federation Bass Championships.
Okay, I need to know. Both Pink and I saw the state of your tire in northern Minnesota?
I'm 2 done. I burned through another one on the way home. So I've got like 1 chunk out of the 3rd one. So I'm just going to get all new trailer tires.
But you're just going to burn. You need to do axles, Panger.
Yeah. I mean, I'm getting a new axle. So I got to take my truck in because you saw the truck too. I hydroplaned 2 weeks ago in Oklahoma when I got back from a trip.
I actually didn't even see anything with the truck.
No,
so
what
happened with that?
$14,000 worth. I went sideways through the median at 70 miles an hour and took out 15 metal poles with like things. There was and then spun back through 2 lanes of traffic.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I did. I did about $13,000 worth of damage on that, and then I did that. Got hung up in Mexico at the border crossing and torqued an axle. So I'm just gonna take it all in at once. And I mean, I've got an appointment with Mike. He actually has like one of the best auto body shops in the town, and also fishes the Bass Nation. So I'm just gonna drop the boat off too and say, hey, look at this axle. It's a little bit. So I got it I made it 10 feet into Mexico.
So like when you say you got it hung up going across the border, my brain envisions you going across like border, like big gates, everything hung up, curb, everyone's yelling at you.
Yo, yeah, that's exactly what happened. Yeah, no, I made it 10 feet into Mexico. Like there's this metal pole, and he was like, right. And then they like, go through all your stuff. And, you're like in Mexico, and like where we crossed was like 45 minutes south of Zapata. So, I mean, it was like we had to go to like the second border crossing because the first one was trying to charge us $50 for every rod and reel that was in every single one of the American boats over 4. So they were going to allow us 4 rods and reels each and then charge us $50 after that for each rod and reel we brought.
Did you do quick math afterwards? What that would cost you?
Yeah, it would have been like over $10,000. And so we went to this next one where we like didn't really have people there that were like taking care. Anyway, we go through and like I get it caught on this post, and I mean like 1 tire's left and 1 tire's right, and I mean it's a disaster. And at one point I had my truck unhooked, and it was in immigration or the deal where they were like they had to take pictures of it because it was a 2,500, which was too big to go into Mexico, so I had to put a $400 bounty on it that I supposedly got back when I came back through the border. So my truck was unhooked in immigration. My boat was in a sketchy parking lot across the street where we had to pay a guy $10 just to keep it there. Then a guy who was selling mangoes parked in front of that, so I couldn't even hook it back up. And then I was in the immigration office trying to get all my paperwork for the boat and the truck and the trailer and the motor and me and all sorts of stuff done. And I was just like, this is just wild. It took us like 6 hours, and then we had to drive another 200 miles or 150 miles into Mexico to the lake.
And you just 3-wheeled it?
Yeah, just 3-wheeled it. Yeah, popped it off. And one of the guys, Mark Schlarb, who kind of runs the USA Bass, he actually had an extra spindle with him, but we couldn't get it off because it was kind of torqued. So I just rolled it 3 wheels all the way into Mexico.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Wild. Good start to the trip,
Yeah. Yeah, but typically, like when you catch them, like stuff like that happens. I think there's something that like it takes your mind off of like the fishing and all that, and like you're focused on something else. So then when you get out there, you just like do your thing.
Yeah, that's sweet. No, that's. I just was curious how your tires had to have looked like as you got home, because I saw it in the parking lot.
Was completely bare, and then this one's getting kind of down. But like I said, I knew that you guys had a bunch of guys up there for your bachelor party. Not that many boats, so like I told you. I hadn't unpacked anything. I literally just kept everything in it from Mexico, came home, did like 3 or 4 BTLs, jumped in the boat. And I also didn't plug in Ely, Minnesota till I jumped in the truck, and I had no clue where it was. So
he told me, he's like,
Mexico,
I'll be
Canada.
He's like, I'll be up at 7 a.m. And he's like, just kidding.
Yeah, I thought it was like 11 hours, right? So I thought it was like around the Twin City areas. It's like 5 hours past that.
He's used to driving to the Jude, that's normally what, like a quick 10-hour hop?
Yeah,
when you come up?
Yeah, this was almost 16.
Yeah. Minnesota is
literally
turns
Canada,
out.
so.
No, it is. Yeah, it was way the hell up there. So I literally plugged it in my driveway and went, crap. That's why I ask you again, like, do you have an actual address? Because you had said Ely in your group text, but then like didn't have an actual address. And I was like, well, maybe I got it wrong. No, I didn't get it wrong.
That's great. Okay. So I think, Pink, let's do this Bassmaster fantasy thing real quick. Then we'll dive into everything for the weekend, because we have the man Panger here to help us dive into this. I know nothing about Tenkiller. We don't do deep, in-depth dive-ins to Bassmaster tournaments. If the book was How to Teach a Dummy How to Fish Tenkiller, give me 1 minute on what's going to happen and what's going on.
I mean, right now it's 6 feet high. They're pulling 11,000. So there's a lot of water moving through it. Upper end's muddy. We have a lot of things like bushes.
Did you guys get a ton of rain, or why is that such a thing?
Rained endlessly here.
Okay.
We've had tons of storms, tornadoes the whole time. So you've got cleaner water at the bottom, dirtier water at the top, which is going to open up a lot of bush flipping stuff, post-spawn fish, largy, smallie spots. All three species play. They actually got a permit so they can weigh in 12 inchers, which is, I think, actually might kind of play in this, because the thing's only 12,000 acres with 100 guys. Like, it fishes small in a 50 boat weekend tournament or an ABA. It's going to fish like ridiculously small over 4 days or 3 days of practice. So you're going to have guys that are out minnowing down lake that don't care about the high water on brush pile and rock. You're going to have guys that are flipping bushes. You're going to have guys that are spinnerbait, crankbait, cover water with a spook. I think it's all going to play. I think the guy who wins is going to have to do 2 or 3 different things, because I just don't think there's enough water to do the same thing for 4 days. Plus, kind of depends on if they keep pulling current or not. If they do that, that kind of positions them a little. Otherwise, they scatter out. But I mean, I think you're going to have guys in the top 10 who are minnow, drop shot, Ned, that kind of scope deal on brush and rock. You might have some guys throwing glide baits. Like, it's literally all over the map.
Do you think this will be because of that, I think this is going to be a really fun one to watch.
Yeah, it should be a really fun one to watch. The only caveat would be if the minnow bite on the brushes is on down lake and it turns into a scope fest. There will be a couple big bags that are caught flipping on the first and second days. That kind of just depends, but I don't know. I mean, I catch them on a minnow out there really well. But I've never been out there like minnowing when it's high. When it's high like this, it's always, you flip bushes, you throw a spook on flat rock, stuff like that.
What are we looking at weight-wise, you think?
I think you'll see a couple 20-pound bags. I think Christy will have a 20-pound bag, but 14 to 17, 18 a day. I mean, there's a lot. Like, I mean,
I had like 70. I had like 71 to win.
Yeah, that's exactly what I have. I have 71. I had exactly 71 pounds.
Like 17 and a half, 18 a day average.
Yeah, and that might be like a 22-pound day and a 14, 15-pound day, or a guy who's got a couple big ones and a couple 2-pound spots with it and stuff. So I mean, it's not easy if there's no one else out there and stuff. Like, it can be absolute slugfest, but from the guys that I've talked to, it's fishing really small right now.
Which I think what's kind of cool when they go to Oklahoma is compared to like where they've been lately, I feel like Oklahoma's a land of like 22 pounds, 12 pounds, like just leaderboard flips a lot around there because so many different things change.
Yeah, especially now with the water level. I mean, they could drop it a foot or two a day if they wanted to. They could keep it at where it is. There's more rain coming in the next 3 days, so I mean, you'll see fish yanked out of bushes, and you'll see fish on spinning rod on a Sakamata shad down lake.
I'm going to have Christy on live tomorrow morning just because I want to see 22-pound shooter get absolutely jacked
Yeah, I would be. Well, I would be shocked if he's not flipping. Like I would imagine he's going to be flipping somewhere.
So it'll be flipping, not spinner baiting.
Who knows? Who knows what he did? He might start offshore on a swim bait or cranking. Yeah. I mean, that's his pond. So
Pink, you want to? Well, Panger, you can give us your picks if you want, but I know you do the opens pick them with Upshot. But
yeah,
you want to roll through yours, Pink, and I'll roll through mine.
Yeah, I feel like I spread it out a little bit I read some of the stuff, some of the previews of this one, and just tried to kind of cover my bases, mainly because I figured Sobey would forget to set his lineup.
That's exactly what I was. I'm hoping this is where I get my gap back.
So that was where I was like, I feel comfortable to swing here. But so I took Jay Shakurit because can't not. I got Corey Johnston, Jason Christie, Cody Huff, and then against my best judgment, I'm rolling the dice on him, and I'm taking Blake Caps on this one.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like a very good lineup. I went with Easton Fothergill because you can't not. Then I went Luke Palmer, then I went Jason Christie, and then in D bucket I went Kenta Kimura. I think Panger would back me up here. Kenta does so well in Oklahoma.
Yeah, he literally lives in Oklahoma now. So
yeah, that makes sense. But like even when he started doing the opens back in the day and everything, he just always did really good in Oklahoma. And then I am also rolling with Blake Caps.
Yeah, because he also like lives there, right? Like Blake Caps.
Yeah, he grew up in Muskogee, so he spent a lot of time out there. Like I said, the only thing that could derail that is the minnow guys. He's not a minnow scoper. He's going to be up shallow mixing it up.
Yeah.
But so I'm the same. I got Fothergill, Palmer, Christie. I went Brandon Cobb. I'm just going to take a flyer on Toad buzzbait bite.
Yeah.
And he's really good up shallow like that. And then E group, I'm wavering right now between Caps, but I actually think I'm going to go Zaldane. There's a potential for probably if I had to pick one day to go glide in Oklahoma anywhere in the state, like regardless of time of year, I'm gonna go throw a glide bait on Tenkiller. They react to it really good.
Is the boat traffic going to be disgusting out there?
Yeah, it's a pond, man. Like it's 12,000 acres, like 12,000. It's like Grand Lake, basically from Drowning Creek down.
Yeah, that's Lake Minnetonka. 13,000. I think Tonka is like 13, 15,000.
But I mean, you have to realize they're used to 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,000 acre fishery. So this is like one creek arm, basically.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. How big's Fork? Fork's really small too, isn't it?
I want to say like 27 or something.
But if fish is really big.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, that's our Bassmaster fantasy preview. And then
and I'd be willing to bank Sobey forgets this one.
I would make a fairly firm bet as well.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. You guys can all text me tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. and be like, oh, did you forget your lineup? Okay. Anyways, perfect little.
Is that your house, there. Pink?
Yeah, I'm in the basement. I'm in the basement here, yeah.
Good Lord, that looks very rustic. It's got like the wood paneling, the fireplace, the deer, the antlers.
Yeah, you're not looking this way though. Like that, what I'm seeing
the skulls. It looks very rustic. It looks like you could tell like really good campfire stories.
Oh, I'll tell you stories, brother.
Well, I suppose we should probably dive into stories because the people want to hear about Bachelor Party Weekend. We went up to. We're not going to name the lake. That's not fair. But we went up to northern Minnesota. We were in the Ely area, stayed at a super badass Airbnb with, 13.
I never actually figured out how many were there.
I don't know. At least 14.
But that Airbnb, was that one of the best setups you've ever stayed at in the country, Panger?
Yeah. Like if you put 5 people in it, you could have had 5 people live there and never seen the other people the entire time.
It was so big, dude. I mean, it was basically 3 houses all connected together.
So I got the lowdown from the aquatic species police on that property. Did you guys get it?
So I had the irrigation guy told me what he thought when I first got there. So I'd be curious to hear what yours says and what mine
He
says.
said that it was like owned by a family or something, and then it was turned into like a lodge, some sort of like lodge or resort or something like that. And that they built it into that. And then like a very prominent couple in the community like owned it or owns it or something. And then they've got like old and it was just too big for them after that. So they like moved into town and they VRBO it now. Well, it's not a very exciting story.
Well, but the cool the cool thing is, so you know where the hazard buoy was and all those rocks and wood pilings were?
Yeah.
That was
like a float plane thing.
It was a float plane landing area. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Because did you notice the amount of planes that would fly into that lake every day?
I did.
And we ran down the lake and fished, and there was a whole bunch of like, float plane hangars and stuff on that lake, just down further.
Yeah. Did you guys ever go check? Actually, here also shout out Kobe Koenig from I think he's at Rapala now. Was at Wired to Fish forever. He sent me a do not run map prior to the bachelor party. He probably saved roughly 80 grand in damage to all of our boats because there were a couple of those X's that would have been awful for a lower unit, and we would have definitely drove over them.
I mean, it would take a half hour for the DNR to go out and just drop a couple freaking warning buoys.
Right.
I mean, like that was it was like the lake I've gone up to in Canada when I took my boat up there last year. Like it's kind of the same deal, but like, I mean, this is a heavily trafficked lake. Like if it's not like there's no boats on it. Like, I mean,
oh yeah.
If you put it at the launch and just take off across the lake, I mean, you're trolling back in with no lower unit in 45 seconds.
Yeah, there was the amount of 1 foot islands that said it was 35 feet was way too high. Like it was so many of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got a full squad up there, and Panger, who did you all know at the house before you got there?
So I'd like casually met or was Instagram friends with, I'd say half of the guys.
Okay.
And
that's
then
fairly good.
There were probably 6 or 7 guys that I hadn't met before.
Okay. That was good. And then you ended up, so for day one, Friday, we ended up fishing. We fished for a bunch of the day, came in, went out to eat, came back, and then you were a part of finding an incredible walleye bite.
You're just going to skip over the $315 pull tab?
Oh, that's right. Okay, my bad. I forget. So for all of our Midwest people, Panger's favorite thing in the world is pull tabs.
I'm up over $500 lifetime on pull tabs. I've played them twice.
It sounds like a retirement strategy.
Oh yeah, it's foolproof.
He's like, I'm going up to Minnesota to play pull tabs. I'll be back.
That paid for golf with Waldo.
Yeah.
Waldo and I went 50-50 on a $3 box, and the very first one I pulled was a $315 pull tab. Oh, you weren't there, Pink. You were
no, but I did ask if you spun it back, and you said absolutely not. We cashed out.
No, we cashed immediately. Took it, and then
they pulled that first one, and then I think what did you go in? $100 total.
We were total. So we were $50 each.
Yeah, $50 each. They pulled that first one on it's $3 box, right?
Yeah.
So you had, I don't know, whatever math on that is, 32, 34 tabs. They pulled the first one 300, and they're like, "Oh, here we go. We're about to crush." Did not pull another winner.
The whole table did not pull a single winner out of it. All the pull tabs,
except for that one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Panger did get a pull tab.
Sobe got me hooked on those after the Clam Days deal when we went to that bar.
Yeah, so we brought up Panger to Clam Pro Day. That was the fall, Jude, like 2 years ago, right?
It might have been. All I know is there are a lot of dudes with beards that loved eating sausages and smoked meats. I've never been around that many ice fishermen before.
Very different crowd than the bass fishing crowd.
Yeah, I say that with love and respect.
Just it was culture shock.
It's like, look at all those ice guys, bunch of sausage eaters up there.
Oh, and then he was sitting next to Augie Isaacson at the bar.
Oh, Well, then you got the full.
Yeah, and then Augie walked up and he started peeling, and he's like, "Cool, I won."
Josh
was like,
from Minnesota, big BTL guy, he came and hung out too.
Yeah,
and then Sobe, it was a shit show.
Yeah,
it was. We didn't get back to Wabasha until way too late that night.
Well, that's right. You guys drove back that night.
Yeah, because we had to fish.
Totally forgot about that.
Okay. Anyways, but then we got back. We ate the food, and then Panger, you were a part of an epic walleye bite, and had you met our lovely friend Andrew Osowski, aka Spock, up to that point?
That no, I don't. I would feel like if I had, I would have remembered.
That's most people's reaction.
That's dude, fair. That's fair. Like some people snort crack, that guy fishes. I don't think you smoke crack. I think if you snort crack, that goes horribly wrong. Some people do cocaine, he fishes, and that jacks him up plenty.
But the effects are similar.
Very similar. Like this dude lives for a walleye bite. Like when I say lives for it, like he reminded me of a juvenile golden retriever with zero training.
Actually, I would say not only does he live for it, he's willing to die for it.
100%. I've never been in the boat with someone who is more all in on a recreational bite. Like I've ran some stuff in tournaments where, you get to the final day or it's a crucial moment and you're like, I'm running this shoal, or, you're safe, but you're like, you do some stuff. This dude did it like with a leech and a bobber at a bachelor party when we were out on the water for 2 hours. Like, I mean, he was very excited to catch walleye in a great way. Like, I mean, bear hugs, high fives.
Oh yeah. Yes.
He is like a juvenile golden retriever. That next day when he heard my motor start, he literally ran out of the house with his shirt half on and was like, I heard a boat engine. And I was like, ain't no one going fishing without me. And there were already 4 people in the boat.
And it was funny because that first day, I think you and Sobe were out together, and you were.
I went with
you were with my brother. Well, you went with Krug during the day.
Yeah, and we blasted the smallmouth.
But I'm talking about in the evening. So
I got up came back and Sobe and I went out
with. You went with my brother Daniel too.
Yes.
So when Panger and Sobe were out, before they got on that bite towards the end, they caught a couple walleyes, and Spock is back at the cabin and he heard about it, and he is like calling. He's like, come pick me up. Let's somebody's got to come get me.
He's trying to get me.
Please, somebody drive me out to their boat.
He's trying to get me and Connor to drive him to go, and we're like, dude, I'm gonna load my boat.
Oh, because Sobe and I sent pictures. I think we doubled on a couple, and we caught 5 or 6. Yeah, so he had like the worst case of FOMO.
Oh, ever. He was frothing, dude. Absolutely.
Was he pacing at camp?
He was just standing on the dock with rods waiting.
He was
juvenile golden retriever.
Do you remember when he called Sobe and he was on the phone with him, telling him to come pick up, and he was like, none of these guys will take me, they're all lame. He wasn't like facing the other way. He was staring at all of us, making eye contact as he said.
So Sobe and I are out there, and we're like, we're catching him. Like we had 6, and Sobe gets off the phone, and he's like, we should really go pick him up. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, maybe we should catch a couple more. And we both like made about 2 more casts. And I looked at, and Dan's just in the back chucking a shad wrap, happy as a clam. He's just there for the experience, right?
Yeah.
And because he's not a hardcore fisherman, but he enjoys it. It was awesome to see him catch 3 or 4. Like he was like, he'd be like, I think I got one, and then just be reeling against the drag, and we're like, I don't think that's a fish. And then other times he'd be like, I think I got one, and it'd be like an 18-inch walleye, and we'd be like, holy cow. He's like, dude, I love walleye fishing. But so anyway, we're out there fishing, and so we're like making casts, and I'm like, dude, like, I don't know this guy very well, but I'm a big believer in like the fish gods and karma. And it's pretty obvious based on the texts and repeated phone calls and overt begging that he really wants to go fishing. And it's like 8:30, it gets dark. I was like, I think we gotta go pick him up. I think it'd be bad luck if we stayed out here and made him wait anymore. And Sobe's like, you know what? He's like, that's a good call. So we just like booked it in and picked him up. But it worked out because he had the glory hole. Like that. We went back to that spot. We only caught like one or two more, and then he's like, "How fast does this bass cat go?" I'm like, I mean, like with four of us, safely, we probably get it up to 60. He's like, we need to get to the other end now. And we got down there and blistered him.
And the other thing is, you guys caught him in what, foot of water?
Yeah, I didn't know. It was dark. I mean, it was pitch black, and I just know I put the poles down and they went like a quarter of the way down. And when we went back the next day, I mean, it was legitimately like that deep. And we threw back a bunch. We had a 4-man limit of walleye in like an hour.
Yeah.
Which I think was what, 6 apiece, all between 14 and 19 inches.
14 and 19.
Yeah, and they were good. Yeah, good eaters. Yeah. Yeah, you guys came back in, and then we were like, pretty much right away, everyone was like, all right, so we're like, when are we going back tomorrow to like do it to them again?
You went the next night with Sobe because I pulled my boat out of the water because that storm was coming in, and it wasn't as good, was it?
It wasn't as good, but the fish were bigger the second night. Like we caught less, but like, and we actually lost one. That one was like Spock had that one on, and the jig popped off right as Sobe went to net it. So, like, the fish is not hooked, not in the net. He reached for it and just didn't get it, but it was probably like a 24-incher.
Was he just crushed?
Well, not in the moment. Like, it was in the moment, everyone was like, all right, yeah, damn, that would have been cool, whatever. But then when we got back to the cabin, like, I think Sobe was over there everyone was taking pictures, whatever. And then Spock's over here, like, talking to Krug and these other guys. And he's like, I can't believe Sobe stabbed that one off. Like, he was just, like, livid about the whole thing. And I was like, hold on. I saw this happen, Yeah.
But I mean, I would rather fish with a dude like Spock any day than a dude who's, like, not into it or is negative. Like, I mean, I enjoyed every second in the boat with him.
Oh, dude.
I have just never been in the boat with anyone like that before.
Yeah. Yeah. Did he tell you to, like, turn all your stuff off and all that, too?
So at our first spot on the first night, mind you, I had never met him before. So we go and pick him up and we get him back there. And like 5 minutes in, he's like up front and he's trying, I'm like scoping with a minnow on these walleye that are like on the edge of the weeds and like 5 foot of water. So I'm like looking for him, casting to the group, and he's trying to like pitch a cork and leech at him. And I'm like, man, I think they stopped biting. And mind you, he's known me for 5 minutes and he goes, well, maybe that's because you're mowing over him on 9.
And you're like, okay.
And he goes, it's a miracle you've even caught one.
Oh my God.
I will admit the bugs got a lot better once we turned the graphs off on the other spot. It was just a cast and chuck over there. There's no scoping involved.
Yeah.
But he also wanted me to take the bass cat up to the damn rapids. And I was like, no, I'll go 30 feet into the mouth, but like, I ain't going in the dark up a river where there's quote rapids.
Yeah. And they were legit. We took Sobe's boat up there the next night, right to the rapids.
Really? Oh, yeah, you went up in there at night. Well, he's got an aluminum.
Yeah. But we also were just like willing. So
did you hit anything?
I don't believe so, but who knows? Not noticeably, but because it was like the further we got up in there, we kept catching, so we just kept going.
It was just for a guy from was I the only one who traveled, Bart, who like came from out of state?
I think everybody else was from Minnesota. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. It was the quintessential Minnesota outdoor bachelor trip. I think. Like, I mean, it was literally like everyone was such a good dude. They all had a different skill set. Everyone kind of worked together, and I think everyone had a blast. Like I said, I probably wouldn't have gone if you'd have been like, hey, go to Nashville or let's go to Vegas. But like when you were like cabin, golf, crayfish, walleye, smallmouth bass, cabin, fire, I'm like, I'm there. I have to go.
Yeah. Well, and you say crawfish. We didn't even talk about this yet. We had previewed it on the pod, but we talked about how we were going to trap some crayfish. So Panger gets there, immediately catches a sucker scoping.
It was 3 inches off of this, or 2.5 inches off of the state record.
And we were like, okay, what do we do with this? And Pink was like, that is perfect crawfish meat. Like, keep it. So we kept it. Pink brought up 8 traps.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And first night, dark comes, we chuck out the traps. And I have never seen so many crayfish in my life as there was on that shoreline.
Well, so and here's the thing. Like we went down there and we were shining with lights, right? And there were some. They were around. But once we put the traps in, like I think that meat just being in the water, they just came out, dude.
Yeah, they hated the traps. They loved the meat that was in the traps.
Yes. Yeah, they were being real weird about going in the traps, which is not normal for rusty crayfish. They're pretty damn.
Oh, so you expected to have like 50 or 60 in each trap then?
Yeah, I was expecting full pulse. Yeah, for sure.
We had like 2 or 3 in some and like 10 in others, and that was
like our best one was maybe a 20 pull, and that was like for the whole time. So it was not good.
Our best pull by far was Panger just walking around on the rocks grabbing.
Also Waldo doesn't get enough credit. He was in on that the first night. That's and fair. Then the second night he went in to get his headlamp and he just never came back out. That's a true story. I was like, dude, we got it. Let's do this. They're out fishing. Like, we're going to come in, we're going to do the crawfish boil. I don't care if it's, midnight. And he's like, okay. And he gets up from the fire and I didn't see him again ever.
No. And yeah, we didn't like rack them up, but we were catching them.
Yeah. I mean, how many did you have when you cooked them? Probably 3-4 pounds.
Oh yeah. All of that. Probably 4 to 5 pounds, I'd say. But like, dude, but I mean, like that first night, right? Like me and we're putting the trap, and we had this like peninsula, right? Like this Airbnb had like a property with it. It wasn't just like a house; like it had the whole frontage and the whole deal. Me and Griff went walking out that peninsula. It was already like whatever, 11 o'clock at night or something. We're walking down there, and we're just BSing, doing the whole thing, carrying these traps, all this stuff. And we get down to the end of it. Griff didn't have a light. I had like a little tiny headlamp. We're just walking along. Griff's up ahead of me, and all of a sudden he's like, what was that? And I turned my head, and there's a deer standing like probably less than 10 feet away from us. Like we walked right up to this deer, and it just exploded out of there. Well, we're on a peninsula that's like 40 feet wide. So like it obviously goes run. And I was like, dude, it's going to run right through that campfire that they're sitting at right now. Like for sure. And I don't know where it ended up going, but we literally
none of us ever heard it or saw it run.
That's you were crazy. Out on the peninsula. Oh yeah, that's 6 feet wide out there.
Yeah, I know what I'm saying, dude. And we walked like literally within 10 feet of this deer before we shined a light at it. And then the deer, like at the same time, was like, "Holy shit!" Like at the same time, we were like, "This is a deer right here." But then, we kind of glazed over that part about at that night because we all stayed. I don't know when you guys bailed, but it started getting light when I went to sleep.
Oh no!
On Friday night,
1:30.
Yeah, Friday night. I think we stayed up till like 4:30 or whatever.
Yeah, I was 4 a.m. club every night.
And I was like, dude, I gotta sleep, man. Like we're fishing, like because we were planning on fishing like the whole next day or whatever. And we're like getting ready for bed, and the whole time Spock is like, dude, we got to go back to that creek. And we're like, dude, it is.
He wanted to go back the same night.
Oh, just wait, Panger. You haven't heard.
Oh, I know yet. I know. I don't want to spoil the story.
Yeah. So he's like, we have to go back. Like, come on. And he's like,
because it's the next day now. You can keep 6 more.
Yeah, it's the next. So he's like, dude, we could take Connor's boat. We could do all. I was like, no, we're not taking Connor's boat. Sobe, come on. Sobe's like, dude, I got. He's like, come on, let's just go. He's like, we'll just troll him. We don't even have to run. We'll just troll a motor over there. He's like, no, dude. And then in this place, they had a bunch of kayaks. He's like, well, just take me over there in the kayak. I'll paddle back. Just take me over there. We're like, no, dude, just go to bed. Like, you got to sleep. He's like, I'm going. And we're like, okay, whatever. Like, sure. And I'm going to sleep, whatever. So I like him going to bed. Next thing I know, I hear all banging around outside. He's dragging a kayak down the beach, and he gets in and just paddles across the lake at 4:30 in the morning.
It's a solid mile.
Yeah, easily. Yeah.
Like so you can see it, but it's enough to like idle out to where it gets deep enough, get on pad, run on pad, get up to full speed, shut down, and idle in. So it's however long that I think it's about a mile.
Yeah. And the whole time I'm like in my head, because everyone else is going to bed and everything. And like Nichols even was like, this is a bad idea, probably. And I'm like, I know this is a bad idea. And I'm like, but I have to sleep, dude. Like I can't stay up any longer. Like, and he's like, yeah. And then he's like, well, make sure you put a life jacket on. And then everyone just went to bed and he left. So he just paddled out there. And I wake up in the morning, and next
I woke up to a Snapchat from Spock of a sunrise.
A sunrise and a big smallmouth that he caught out of the kayak. And he came paddling back across there at, I don't know, 7 in the morning or something, 7, 8. I don't even know what time it was. He came paddling back, and there's a bunch of walleyes banging around in the bottom of that kayak. And he was like, he said he smacked him again or whatever. And I was like, okay, well, then we make some breakfast. You guys have like a golf time that you got at like noon or something. And this is the whole, and you could tell, so he hasn't slept in what, 2 days at this point?
Roughly, yeah.
Roughly 2 days, 0 sleep. Like,
did he come Thursday?
I think he was up, because he went up there, I think, a day early.
Yeah, he did.
So he didn't sleep Thursday night, and he didn't sleep the first night I was there, which was Friday. So now it's Saturday morning. He has slept 0.
He slept 0, but all he wants to do is go catch these walleyes more. And so we're like having breakfast or whatever. You guys are getting ready to go golf. And me and Sobe were planning on fishing, and Griff was there too. And Spock's like, dude, we got it. We can still catch him. It's not too late, blah, blah. We're like, dude, you got to sleep. You are a liability at this point, dude. Like, we cannot take you out in a boat right now. Like, he can barely function, you know? Like, motor skills are like not happening.
I couldn't tell if that was because he hadn't slept or if that was just like how he normally is.
Well, it's both, but like, it's like the lack of sleep wasn't helping it.
Yeah.
And so he's sitting there at the counter. Me and Sobe are like having a conversation, and then you can see him. He's like, I'm sure people listening can't see this, but he's like kind of doing that like sleep wobble thing, and then he'd like lean over and kind of catch himself. You know,
he's doing the griff.
He's doing the griff hard. And Griff is like witnessing it and like eating it up, right? And
he's not on the receiving end of it.
Yeah, he's like, this is perfect. So he's doing that whole thing, but it's so funny. Me and Sobe are having this conversation, and throughout the conversation, we're just getting quieter and quieter until like nobody's talking, and we're just staring at him, like watching him like fall asleep, sitting up. And we were just gonna like let it happen, you know? Like just, you know, he's going to sleep, just, you know, let him do it. And then eventually he like caught himself and he kind of woke up a little bit, and then we were all staring at him and he was pissed. And and we're all like, dude, you got to go to sleep, man. He's like, you guys are just going to all go fishing and leave me here. We're like, no, dude, we'll wait. You just go sleep for a couple hours. We're like, we'll just chill. We'll wait for you. Okay. He was resisting it forever. He finally goes to sleep, and we're like, sweet Jesus, thank you. And then we all left and went fishing. And so we left him there or whatever, and we came back, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours later or whatever.
Try to find this picture.
And he's got this house we had a bunch of bedrooms that faced the lake that just had like doors that would went outside, like French doors that just opened outside. So we come back, and he's got like a chair from like the living room, like with the cabana doors open. He's kicked back with a cup of coffee, sitting outside on this like lounge chair thing. And we come idling back up to the dock, and he's all bright-eyed, smiles, you know, the whole thing. And he's like, oh, dude, I'm so well rested, all this whatever, you know. We're like, okay, calm. You slept for 4 hours in 2 days. Like, let's calm down a little bit.
But I thought there was a picture of this.
There may be, dude. I don't know. I didn't take it, but he was fired up, ready to rip again after that little deal. But dude, it was like, nonstop, like, let's fish, which was sick. Like, we did a ton of fishing, especially while you guys were golfing. But and I don't know how that played out. I'm sure there was some good stuff there. I've seen some Snapchats, but
yeah, Panger. So this was your first time golfing in what you said, 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years.
So we go play the Wilderness, which is at Fortune Bay.
Panger, and we're gonna have to post that picture of you teeing off at the cabin.
No.
We have to post it. That is legitimate, Panger. That is the funniest audio clip.
So in my defense,
watched
it is straight rock underneath it. That was the first time I had swung a driver in 3 years, and all I was worried about was grounding my driver. So that's why I topped it
4 times in a row, though, dude.
Yes. Hey, you got to give me something for consistency.
All right. I will say they went like about the same distance every time.
Oh yeah, it was perfect. And the funny thing is, I didn't top a single one on the course.
That's what I heard. Like everyone was like, "Oh, dude, Panger was dialed today," and I'm like, "Come on."
You're like, I watched it.
I was
well,
like,
I
"There's
didn't
no
know
way."
that. I didn't know that half the house was watching through the bay window. So then when I topped the third one, like 4 people came out and were like, "Ha ha!" Like straight up Simpsons, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I didn't know anyone else was watching. I thought it was just like 2 guys.
That was honestly like that was the best wake up text I received. Like I had a snap from Ryan, and I'm like glossy eyed, just like open my eyes. I'm like, oh, what is this? And I see Panger teeing off. I'm like, oh, he probably blisters this, and it's just whooshing, bloop.
Dude, and I will
just right in front. It was so
right,
good.
and I didn't know like that Panger golf much at all or whatever. So we were just bullshitting in the morning, and he's telling me like he hasn't golfed in a while, but like, oh yeah, dude, I golf a bit. And I was like, okay. So he goes, sets the tee up, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get a clip of this because I was like, one, it was like super still out. I was like, oh,
I was gonna send one like
this is gonna sound
280 yards out into the middle of the lake.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is gonna be sick. And
that's also so northern Minnesota. Just tee up a ball and be like, yup, sayonara, baby. You're structured now.
And I thought I'm gonna have the snap of the day right here. Like I'm gonna send this to the boys, get them all riled for a little golf time. and he hits this ball, and I was like,
I mean, I tried to kill it too. Like came out of my shoes.
Dude, yeah. You put the torque on it, and it did not go far. And put the like Bart said, the audio is
you can't
so
post
good.
it. I'm in like a 1950s grease tucked in black
that
undershirt.
That shirt was working for sure.
Yeah.
Hard.
Yeah, that's my favorite undershirt. They're like $50 a piece.
Come on.
Yeah, they're unbelievable.
What is it?
Tommy John.
All right, Tommy John. There we go.
Yeah, the Tommy John.
You got the audio.
I got.
It's like the only. It's like
it.
the perfect undershirt because you can wear a sun shirt over it, and it's thick enough to where you can't see your nipples.
Unreal.
Yeah. Oh God.
You get put it right up to your mic, real close. Put it up to your mic, real close.
You gotta hear the audios. Like our podcast listeners will actually enjoy this.
All right. So yeah.
320 yards out.
And you like,
how is that even possible to have that crisp of a sound?
It was so good.
I mean, that's 15 yards.
That's generous.
I didn't even know you said Matt Pangrac 320 yards out. Oh my god!
It was so good.
Legitimately, probably a top 5 social embarrassing moment of my life.
It was good. It's very
because
funny.
I knew that everyone else I was supposed to play with was going, oh shit. Like the other 3 team members were not on board after they saw that.
Well, but
like, I'm just working the kinks
The
out.
team did get screwed up a little bit, but it was still fine. We had a ball.
Yeah,
but
it worked out great.
Panger, what'd you think of the Wilderness?
Very cool course. Very cool course. Like you got like the Minnesota feel. I loved the shoot for course credit on that par 3.
Oh yeah, that was cool. I'd never seen that before.
Always bet on yourself. That's
Pink
the
didn't hear about this.
There.
So on hole 7, they had literally this kid's job. He's just like a cart boy. He just chilled at the tee. It's a par 3 that's like 140 yards, and you can bet up to
like
$50.
Way up on top. It's probably a 50-yard drop. Like I mean, you're looking at the whole green.
Yeah, it's like like that. And his whole job is you can bet anywhere from $5 to $50 on yourself to hit the green. And if you hit the green, you double what you bet in I think it was course credit. So a gift card.
This shop had probably 60 different styles of hats. Like they really appreciated merch.
Got it. And it's
so like
really
if you
cool
bet
stuff.
$50 and didn't hit the green, then he'd just give you $50 course credit. But if you bet $50 and hit the green, then he'd give you $100 course credit.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So I think we all put in various amounts. I think you might have been the only one who hit the green on the bet.
Yeah,
though.
I put $40 in and then hit the green. So I got $80 in course credit. So I got 2 badass Wilderness. I actually got that USA one that has the Wilderness on the side. I'm giving it to Court so she can wear it on 4th of July.
Nice.
And then I got one with the Minnesota logo in it.
Yeah. But yeah, super cool course. I love it for it's a great bachelor party course.
Great sausages too. We had some at the turn.
Beauty. Yeah, it sounded like you guys had a good time over there for sure.
We did. It was nice. I don't know, something about just golf.
Your dad was unbelievably good, Bart. Like, I mean, I watched your dad tee off 3 times, and I mean, it was straight down the middle, 220 yards every single time.
My dad, I think, hit 14 or 15. No, because you can only hit 14. He probably hit 12 to 13 fairways that day.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
And I don't know if we used one.
Well,
because I think there was always someone who hit one further down the middle, but we said he was our vibes guy. He would just tee off first, and it was just dead straight down the middle every time.
By far, Waldo, longest driver out of the whole group.
If Waldo gets a hold of it, it goes a mile.
Dude, it's legitimate 300-yard drives out of Waldo.
He was cranking.
I hit one 340 that day. I think it was like 342.
What, 2 cart paths?
No, actually, no. It was hole 9. I poked it way down there, but that's kind of I'm capable of doing.
No, that was a good call, Bart.
But yeah, super.
And it
fun.
was free golf because pull tabs.
Yeah,
I did like though. I will say this. I didn't see any of this golfing go down, but I did very much appreciate when you guys got back to the house, and this was the Panger. He goes, you guys are all sitting there or whatever, and Panger goes, Bart, I really didn't expect such an athletic swing out of you. And, and then I think you followed it up with, normally you're just kind of hulking around the boat, so I wasn't really expecting you to be able to have such buttery.
I move around like I'm always in pain.
You're a big guy. What are you, 6'3", 6'4"?
Yeah, 6'3". Yeah.
I mean, you're not exactly nimble.
No,
in the bass boat. You're not clumsy, but you had a nice fluid swing.
But you do look like you are in chronic pain always.
Yeah, I kind of am.
Well,
especially that weekend until about after the first night till about 9 p.m. that night, I was always hurting a little bit.
Shockingly coordinated, some would say.
Yeah.
What'd you guys do while we were golfing? Did you guys have a derby or I was wondering because I had a little bit of FOMO on that, Pink, because I hadn't golfed in so long, but also there were 4 and 5 pound smallmouth and walleye and muskie and pike to be had. So I was like, maybe I should have stayed. I was glad I went and golfed, but I had some FOMO.
I think the other funniest part was we were trying to figure out a way for everyone to be involved in because we were doing a scramble and we were playing for some money, which no one ended up paying out, which doesn't matter. It was just the competition. But I was coming up with a game. I was like, okay, we'll do the fishermen will go out and they catch their first 18 fish, and it's pike is a double bogey, smallmouth over this way it is a birdie, under's a par, whatever. We had rules like that. And I think we had pulled into the driveway of the golf course, and Griff texts, Pink got a double bogey.
Yeah. So
and then 10 minutes later, Pink doubled again. We're 4 over.
So you'll love this because here's how this kind of played out. And this is totally what you'd expect from a bunch of guys that absolutely don't golf, right? So for one, you sent there was a bunch of rules, right, on it, what all these fish scored and all this stuff and whatever. So we're all right, somebody screenshot, somebody have that up, all right, I guess we'll indulge this game, okay. And the first thing, so it's me and Griff went out for a while, then we came back in, then it was me, Griff, and Nitchels all together. And it was so funny because Nitchels had his boat there, but the 3 of us all were in Connor's boat, who was golfing. But we're so okay. We go out and me and Griff we're catching some small. It wasn't as hot and heavy as the first day for whatever when you guys were just smashing them everywhere. But we were catching some, right? Then we kind of get this text about how this game is supposed to work. And then we had asked the other guys, the kids, so me, Griff, Sobey, Nitchels, and everyone is why the hell do we got to catch 18 goddamn fish for this thing? This is the dumbest thing. Yes, but we didn't understand that. So we're just this is the dumbest, why can't it just be 5? This is so dumb. And and it took us a while to grasp the whole thing that was supposed to be part of the whole golf deal. But anyways, so then me and Griff go back out. Well, we pull up to this island, right? And so we've already caught some smallmouth, but now we're like, all right, let's take this game for real. Well, you know how much I like catching pike. And we pull up to this.
I will say, and a muskie, there's not a lot of them in there, but a muskie was a hole in one.
It was. And it was muskie opener. That day was opening day of muskie season. So I was like, I had the rods with, I had the gear. Like, I was like, we're going. Like, so we pull up to
I wondered why you didn't fish on Friday.
Yeah.
You weren't there, but no one did.
That's fair. Yeah. But yeah, Saturday was opening day. So we go up to this spot and Griff's throwing like a little paddle tail or something. And I start throwing a jerkbait around and I got absolutely cranked by a pike. And I'm like, hell, I'm like fighting it and I'm like sick, and Griff's like, oh, damn it. And I'm like, no, dude, it's good. Like, it's all, and I like flip it in the boat, I'm dealing with it or whatever, let it go, all good. And then I think about the time he was like, dude, like, if we're going to do this, we can't fish for pike because we're going to have like a really shitty score or whatever. I fired that thing right back up there and hooked another one like right away, and it was like on, dude. They were on this little rock point and I was just whacking them. And like one pike after another kind of thing. And then I realized like, oh, the pike is like not like you're not scoring well with that.
Yeah.
Like it's part of this game. So whatever, we bailed off of that for a while and ended up going just like smallie fishing and catching.
Yeah, Griff told me he looked at you and he was like, dude, you got to put the jerkbait down. Like,
and I looked at him. I looked back at him and I was like, we might be in trouble then. Like, because they eating it.
Because our group looked at your scoring system for the fish, and I was playing. God, I can't. Everyone is the same age, white Minnesota dudes. So I see them by face, but I had the names did not stick with me. You
were golfing with Waldo and Rello.
Yeah, Rello took one look at that and went, "This is not going to work," and then put his phone away.
Well, yeah, and then of course, okay, so we pick up nichels, we go around, we're catching we actually started catching some decent smallies, but I'm like, every opportunity we're on a spot that looks like it could have like a muskie living on it, I'm like on the front hucking a bucktail, and dude, we didn't fish for long, and I had a decent one come up hot on the bucktail in a figure 8 or whatever, and it blew out. And we were like, oh, that was cool. We saw one. Like, I was for muskie fishing.
There's not a lot of them in there, too.
So we go out, and it was a very distinct spot where like this creek was coming into the lake. Like there was some actual flow coming out of it. And we go up to another spot. Now the wind was blowing pretty good. And we're like in between these two islands. There's a nice little like current seam coming out of it. I'm throwing a bucktail across it. And I got another one comes charging up on the bucktail right at the boat. Took it through one turn of figure 8 and it bailed out. And I was like, holy shit, we seen 2. That's pretty cool. And the only other one we saw, we were back in the bay. We just caught a few smallmouth and I had one actually bite the bucktail. And like we saw it clear as day. I mean, the water was like decently clear. It came up, ate it like a foot under the surface and just didn't get hooked. So we had action from 3 fish in like an hour and a half.
Wow.
And then that was it. Like we really didn't spend much more time muskie fishing after that because we ended up catching a bunch of smallies. And then we went, I don't even know what the hell. We went back. Oh, we started cooking all that food. That was Saturday was like the big blowout.
Yeah, because then we got back and Pink was like, all right, I'm going to throw down.
Well, and so we came back in the middle. So we were making, we did like pork belly burn ends and then like.
I never saw those. Didn't know when they were cooked. Never knew they went down. Didn't even know that existed until they sent the photos after the whole thing was over. And I'm like driving home looking at the photos and I'm like, when the hell did Pink cook these? Like never knew they existed. Didn't even know that was a menu option the whole weekend.
Yeah, I think they got mowed pretty quick because it was like they were good. But like I came back in the middle of the day, me and Griff pulled back up and we got them because they take like 3.5 hours to do it. So like we came in the middle of the day, got that going, went back out fishing. Me and Sobe go out. We ended up getting on a really good spinnerbait smallmouth bite, which was sick. Then you guys came back from golfing and everyone was hungry and they're like, what's the deal? So we came back in and whatever, started making food. But yeah, we did just a lot of wings, like a lot.
Oh, that was when they sent me out to tell you to come in to start cooking. So I just cut you guys off and told you to go in.
Oh yeah.
We got back and we were all a little tore up and had not eaten anything, and we're like, they're not answering their phone. Someone needs to go. And Panger was like, I'll get them.
Well, and so because Bart, you had called me, then you called Sobe like repeatedly, and we had just like we were struggling, and we had literally pulled up on this rock point, and we are smashing smallies on the spinnerbait right now.
Like 3 or 4,
and we are like the phone's ringing, and I'm like, we're not going, like we're like we're locking in right here for a while. So we're doing that, and then Panger comes flying in there, and then they sat down and they just go trolling motoring like right in front of us, straight into the creek where they caught all the walleyes. I was like, oh my god! Like I was like looking at Sam, and I'm like, I think we're good. Like if they're going fishing, we don't have to be back for a while. Like it's all good. But yeah, we hung around for a bit and ran back in, and we made. I don't even know how much meat, dude. It was a lot.
So much meat, and then there was walleyes, and then there was a ton of queso. So there's other dips.
You never got to the crawfish though. How was actually cooking them the next day?
Oh, they were great, dude. Like, I came home because everyone left everyone left in the morning, but I took all of the crayfish because I was like, all right, first of all, I thought we were gonna make them that night, but then it was just like it got so late and everyone got so
2
drunk.
a.m.
Well, yeah, I think we'd have been fine except for that whole Crown Apple bottle situation. Kind of just drove everyone.
Shout out James Chapman.
Yeah. So what he sent you? He sent you.
He literally
Venmoed. I have a buddy in Oklahoma named James.
He literally Venmoed me and said must be spent on whiskey,
which would have been fine. But we sent Sam freaking to go to the store to get it. So we're like, dude, we need some more tortilla chips, and you got to get this whiskey. I'm like. We knew we had to finish this bottle, right? That was the rules, right? We have to get it. We have to like pound this bottle. Okay, fine. We got enough guys here. What does he come back with? A handle of Crown Apple. Not like, oh, let's just grab a 750 and we'll have some fun here. Like this was work.
Yeah, like we got halfway through and we all looked at each other and we were like, oh God.
When he pulled that out of the bag, I was like, this is not going to go
I was like, this is definitely a team activity. Like, we're going to have to work.
And we did finish it, though. I will say that. So let that be known. We did. But, dude, because, like, I don't know. Everything outside, I don't exactly remember how that played out at the night because it was just like, I feel like I was fairly tuned up and I was crashing hard. But somebody, I think it was Jake. Jake is like constant, like everyone is like so drunk sitting by this campfire, and the whole time he's just like
in bed.
He's just like dealing people his phone, like play another song. You got to play, and it was like, dude, just put it on wherever you want. No, you have to pick the next song. So everyone's playing all this like just horrible music for like.
Oh, is that when he was playing like Katy Perry and stuff?
There was all kinds of stuff, man. And what was the song that got sent in the group text or whatever? That was like some real.
Yeah.
Something real messed up. I don't even know.
But the crawfish never got cooked.
Absolutely not, dude. I went home with a bucket of live crawfish in the front seat of my truck all the way back to the cities.
And they got cooked immediately when you got home.
I did because I was like, I need to sleep.
Did the tails pop out on the rusties? Because I noticed based on the tail to body ratio, way smaller than what you do in Texas, in South Texas, Louisiana. Like they have bigger tails, smaller bodies. These had big bodies, smaller tails. I was really curious to see how the meat popped out of the rusties in the tail as opposed to it's the farmed ones.
Not as easy, but it does come out. Like you got to peel off like one ring of the shell and then it pops right out. But like, so those big rusties actually have like a good little bit of claw meat in them. So it's like you just snap the end off, pop it right out.
It looked like you had like a nice butter froth going too.
Oh, dude, it was good.
I was very jealous. Like I was looking forward to that. Oh, we'll have to do that again.
We will. Yeah, we'll have to get way more though. Like we got to get poundage. But yeah, we'll do it. It turned out great. Like I said, I was sitting there smashing them that night, and then I was like, I need to sleep. But I honestly, because Panger, you left kind of in the like earlier in the morning.
Yeah,
when you got out of there.
Yeah.
But so we go to this restaurant right in town with a Frisky. What is it?
Frisky Otter
in Ely. And we pull into this. I never been there or whatever. So we pull into that place. Everyone was like, pretty hungover. And we're like, all right, let's just get some sandwiches or whatever. And we get this. So whatever. I like different restaurants, like to see how they serve food, whatever. But they have a steak sandwich. Feels like a pretty safe bet here. Like most places, some steak slices on like a roll, whatever. Cool. A bunch of us ordered this steak sandwich.
6 out of the 8.
I shit you not, dude. This is a full ribeye, unsliced. Just like not even sliced, dude. Like they cooked a full ribeye and just put it between 2 pieces of garlic bread and threw it in a basket with some fries. We're like, there you go, steak sandwich.
So that's kind of how it is down here.
But I'm saying, like, I've never seen it set up this way, dude. Where they literally just took they just grilled a steak,
and it was good.
Wasn't like thin. It wasn't like a sandwich steak. It was like a steak. Like if you ordered it for dinner, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's a ribeye.
Yeah, like if I got this steak as a meal, I'd be like, solid,
Oh, okay, yeah, no. Up here you do like a thin ribeye sandwich, but this was like a steak, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah. But it was good. It was good, dude. I was just like not expecting.
I just know the hack now. Like if I go back there for dinner, instead of ordering the ribeye dinner for like $38, I'll get the steak sandwich for like $20.
No roll, no bun.
But it was great.
It was good, dude.
But then I know I'm not the only one. I got about 20 minutes into the drive home, and I was like, Alani ain't even saving me here, dude. I don't know how I'm going to get back to the cities right now. I'm so tired.
The third oldest guy there. So, I mean, I was in bed before everyone. I was probably one of the first. Well, besides the guys who passed out, I was the first one who went to bed.
That's fair. Yeah. So I was going to say, I was like, I know Nichols, not like super well. Like I've met him a bunch of times before, but like never like hung out with him or whatever. Having been there and like been there for a couple days with him, I overly impressed at his ability to sleep in extreme conditions.
Yeah.
Because this was like, we had a whole house, mind you.
Is that your buddy with the beard?
Yeah. Andy.
Oh, whoa. Yeah. Tell this story, Pink. This was the most impressive thing of the whole damn weekend.
Like we're in like the party mode in the kitchen, living room area or whatever. And like, I don't know, like, and it wasn't even just like out of the, like, hey, I'm going to try to sleep or whatever. Like he would just blanket on, knocked out, ice cold for hours. Like, not like all through the night, all through the morning, through breakfast, the whole thing, never moved. Not
like
only
there were guys that were trying to find sticks to poke him with to make sure he was still alive.
It wasn't even like when you could tell like, oh, somebody's like sleeping, like from the time he laid down until the time he physically woke up, never moved.
No, not a muscle.
Not one muscle movement.
It's like hibernating. He was like hibernating.
He was hibernating.
It was incredible. And like people are like climbing over, like getting around him and like, all the stuff. And he is just like out right there, done. It was insane. I was like, I wish I had 1% of that. But Panger had the setup there with like the air pad right in the living room. That was a big time move.
That was a veteran move. I knew Bart had brought the air mattress. I'd cleared that with him before, so I strategically did not claim a bed because when I did the walkthrough, I knew it's like, a single bunk bed or something like that in a room or something. I really didn't care. Then, you had was it Rello who passed out on the couch the first night on the hockey game for about 6 hours?
Krug. And you thought he was like watching the game or?
Yeah, I thought he was watching the game. I was like talking to him about it during overtime. And I thought maybe he just like didn't want to have a conversation because he was a big hockey. Now he was passed out. And
he was just slightly sat up with face facing the hockey.
And then
game.
Your other buddy was hibernating horizontally, like with his feet in Krug's face. But I came out to you at like 1 and I said, all right, dude. I said, I'll take that air mattress because I had slept on it at Leech in the Open last year
for a week.
Very comfortable air mattress. So I had scouted out an area. I knew everything was done. So I knew I had a queen size air mattress. I'd already scouted out the sheets, the whole 9 yards. So I knew I had that to myself.
Yeah, that's because when I got there, dude, I knew it was a losing battle because I was like, almost everyone's here already or is here already. I'm like, there's no way I'm scoring a good spot to sleep in this joint. And I took, because I think somebody was like, here, I'll show you where everything's at. And I took a spin through this place. And I was like, holy God, this place is huge. But like all these rooms, it's like bunk bed city. I'm like, this ain't it. Like I'm 5 guys deep in this room, 4 over here. And I'm like, oh, dude. And like, if one of these guys snores, I'm in for a bad time, you know? And, dude, the whole time I was there, I just slept in the bed of my truck out in the driveway.
Yeah, we got up Saturday morning to get ready for golf, and I walked past Pink's truck, and it's just, you see his head sticking out of the tailgate of his truck, and he's in there in a freaking sleeping bag.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, honestly, it was good because like
it was perfect temp at night. And there was not bugs.
You remember we got like bears and wolves and Sasquatch.
And my setup is good, dude. I have a dialed little truck setup. I got like a 4-inch memory foam pad in there on like a platform. The whole, like, it's dialed. Like, I'm good for like anything, right? I got the topper, like I'm good. And that first night, like I said, we stayed up till like 4:30 in the morning, and I was just like, I'm climbing in, dude. I smashed a bunch of water, climbed in the back, shut the glass on the thing, fell asleep. And that was when I heard Spock going kayaking and the whole thing and whatever. And I'm like, oh, dude, I just got to get to sleep. I got to get to sleep. There's like loons out there on the whole thing. I was like, the vibes are good. And I just pass out. I wake up in the morning. Con Dog is out there rattling around in his boat, getting some stuff ready. Panger's over there doing whatever. Yeah, I kicked the back window open. And I was like stretching. I'm like, oh my God, I come like rolling out of the tailgate. You know, these guys are out there. But that second night, it was raining like pretty good. And I was like,
poured. Yeah.
And I was way more drunk the second night. And I was like, oh, dude, like I got out of there because I think I was like, oh, I gotta go do whatever. And I just left and never came back, you know. And I was like, I went outside and it was just pouring rain. And I hopped in the back of that thing and shut it because it was like thunderstorming, dude. Like there was lightning like crazy.
There was a wicked front that came through.
So I was just riding it out in the truck in the driveway or whatever, but it was all good, dude. I slept like a rock.
Yeah. No, I'm 40 years old, Bart. That's the first bachelor party I've ever been to.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, glad we could give you the experience.
Yeah, it was a good time.
It was
all I wanted for my bachelor party was like, dude, all those guys, there's so many people that do so many things in the fishing industry now. And we never we get to hang out 2 at a time or 3 at a time at places. We never all get to be together.
Or just at the ice show, like at the bar.
Or we're at the ice show and then there's other people around too. So
yeah,
it was like, all I wanted was just go to the middle of northern Minnesota, get a cabin, and we all chill at the cabin.
Who does the Elliott rods? Like I was like so glad that I liked that rod because I didn't know that he designed it.
Yeah, that's Rello.
I didn't know Rello like designed that. So there's just a rod sitting there, right? So I like pick up the rod and I go like this. And I'm like messing with it. And I'm like, damn, this rod feels good. I go, little stiff, but I really like the tip on it. I unlined it and I'm like, I like that rod. And I didn't know that he was standing right there with me. Afterwards, I was like, I'm so glad I wasn't like, whose piece of shit is this? Dude, those things are freaking amazing.
Yeah, they do good work.
Yeah. What are those retail for?
I wouldn't be the one to. I don't know that.
They feel very high end, like $300-$400 rod.
Yeah, they're like around 300.
Yeah. No, I was super impressed with them.
Yeah. No, dude, that was fun. And like, it was kind of a sick spot because like even right off the shore, there's like smallmouth on beds like 10 feet from the shore of the cabin.
Yeah, Jerry got caught like 9 times.
Yeah, there were 3 beds there.
He finally left.
Over.
He did. He was like, I'm over it, man.
Yeah.
He was a pound and a halfer that started the day every day.
He was a good sport about it though.
He was a good sport.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a baller setup. Great time. I'm glad you could partake, Panger.
No, thanks for the invite.
Come on up and do it. So yeah, it was everything we wanted it to be. Got home and I haven't had like that type of a weekend in a really long time. And Monday was arguably worse than Sunday, just because my whole body hurts so bad.
Yeah, that's fair. Because I even I had some other buddies that didn't go to that run. They're like, "Oh, how was it? Like, you guys did a bunch of crazy stuff." I was like, honestly, we fished a lot and got pretty drunk. Like, that was the bulk of it, really.
Yeah, we fished a lot, made food, and all of a sudden you were like, dude, heading into that last night, everyone brought a case of beer. And heading into the last night, I looked at Sobe and I was like, brother, you need to when you get that whiskey, you need a case or two of Busch Light. And he's like, what? I'm like, it's gone. He's like, what? It's all gone.
Yeah.
My 10-year senior to most of you guys, I think I took it a lot easier than you guys did.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe. But Griff and Nichols, I feel like they were just plowing Coors Light like they'd never seen it before.
Griff's a legend when it comes to that stuff. I mean, you'd expect nothing less.
I know.
He's going to be doing that when he's 80.
A case of Coors sees him coming, is like, oh, boy.
I wish I'd gotten to fish open water with Griff. I've seen him on the ice and how freaking good he is on the ice. Literally, I was like, if it's a crappie or a bluegill under the ice, it really can't make that much difference. Then you watch what he does and you're like, oh my God, this guy catches fish that other people can't catch. I would have loved to have spent some time with him. I got to spend some time with Sobe in the boat. I would have loved to spend some time with Griff open water and watched him fish.
Yeah, he is dialed, but it was so funny because you could tell he was getting, I think, a little wore out by Saturday afternoon, just from everything. Because I'm we went back out fishing. It's just me and him in Connor's boat. We go out there and I'm running the trolling motor. We're going around watering all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, if you want to, I was like, if you want to drive or whatever, just jump up. It's all good. And he's just on the back casting his swim bait around or whatever. And he's like, no, I'm good. This is fine. He was just sitting on the back deck slinging his swimmer around, and he's just like, you look like you're.
Is that when he fell asleep? Can I show the photo of when he fell asleep in the boat?
Oh, the Griff photo.
Yeah, show that picture.
They've seen enough of him with the Chronicles.
He won't be upset at me, will he?
No,
we'll post it on Instagram anyway. But
that was in Nichols' boat. That was Friday. That wasn't even Saturday.
Was the first day. That was even before everything started. Good Lord.
Yeah, because he got there Thursday night. But yeah, I think him and
sucker.
Give him immense props to starting every day.
Is that a big sucker, or am I over exaggerating the size of the
sucker? No, it was a good sucker. That's if you're gonna catch one, that's.
You think that's the biggest sucker that's ever been scoped? Because I literally cast to the same group of suckers for probably half an hour.
Yeah, because we were like, I don't know what those are, but they're everywhere in 8 to 12 feet. And then he caught it and he's like, they're all suckers. I was like, huh, okay.
Okay.
The one thing live scope or forward facing, I would say, has taught me in Minnesota is the sucker population in all these lakes is way higher than I would have anticipated.
Strong.
Very high.
Yeah. Yeah, no, dude, I seriously had a good time though. And the fishing was great, dude. Honestly, low key, even though it was kind of not the main deal, the fishing was awesome.
The best part was you could be like, you want to go out for 2 hours and catch some, and be like, yeah, and then you just go catch them.
Yeah. But we had a hella pile of walleye meat. Holy shit.
Yeah, I just brought the leftovers down to my parents today.
Did you? Nice.
Yeah, it was like, here you go. They're like, thank you. Very appreciative.
Damn.
Yeah, worked out great. But yeah, I guess that is the bachelor party recap. Yeah, hell of a weekend, boys. And I'm sure we'll get more stories from Sobe whenever he gets back from wherever he's at. But we can't also have Panger on and not ask him about, you could probably talk for 8 years about all the stuff he's done in the fishing industry. But yeah, is that, you kind of nodded your head, shook.
I wouldn't say 8 years. I've done a little bit.
Yeah. But okay.
It's what you do for your full time. It's just what it is. You know what I mean?
So I've heard about you talk about getting into the Bass Zone and everything, but you were in college. How did it all start?
I played club hockey at OU, so I was playing juniors in Iowa. I went to OU.
You're from Illinois.
I'm from Illinois. It's so random. I ended up at OU, which I didn't even know had a hockey program, but they were a new D1 club So I was playing juniors in Iowa. I went to OU, and that was back when Facebook was only colleges. So like in order to be a part of Facebook, you had to like go to a college, right?
So like you were featured in The Social Network, the movie.
So it's that time frame, yes. So when I went to OU, I made a Facebook profile, and I put down like you have like your favorite TV shows are. I put like the Bassmasters, FLW Outdoors, in Fisherman, that type of stuff, right? So I do the hockey thing for a year at OU. I played for 3 years there, but after the first year, I get this message from this dude named Chip Porcher, and he's like, "Hey, I'm an incoming freshman at OU. There's this thing called college fishing. I want to start a program at OU. I did a Facebook search for everyone at Oklahoma, and you popped up that your favorite show is the Bassmasters. Do you want to be a part of the team?" So that's how I ended up on the OU fishing team.
That's the first successful like not Insta, but Facebook creep.
Yeah.
Like, just like I need to find someone.
So we were fishing, and then I was a communications major. And, you know, I'd fish with the club and had done the Casting Kids thing and fished with the Assumption Bass Club since I was 13 years old. But it kind of took a backseat to sports because I knew there was like an end period, like basically as soon as I was done playing in college for hockey. So I just like fished off the bank and stuff. Had a boat at my parents' house that didn't ever move. It was like a 1979 Ranger that I bought with cash from like night crawler hunting and woodworking. And Mark Jeffries from the Bass Zone, which was based out of Norman, Oklahoma at the time, was looking for some like cheap labor. So he had heard there was a bass club at OU, sent a message that said, "Hey, does anybody want to intern with the Bass Zone?" So Chip sent it out to the whole team, and I was like, yeah, because when I played juniors, I had taken all the courses, so I already had my associate's degree when I went to OU, so I was looking for like upper division electives and stuff, so like an internship that could count for course credit was awesome. So that's how I got in on the Bass Zone. And then Pete Robbins was writing, and he's still, I've had him on the show many times, good writer, everything. And something went down with him where he couldn't write some articles. My mom was an English teacher, taught me how to write. Mark was pumping out articles every single day on the Bass Zone. That's how everyone got their news back then in 2007, was to go to Bass Fan and Bass Zone and Wired to Fish. And Mark was like, "You want to write it?" So I was like, okay. So I wrote like 3 or 4 articles that week when Pete was on like vacation, and it went over well. And then he said, "Hey, intern for me next year again. And then when you graduate, you can go full time and work for, it's independent contractor, but work for the Bass Zone." And then that was right around the time when Mark Jeffries quit his job, went full time from UPS to the Bass Zone. And then Harold Allen had retired and he came on. So it was me, Harold Allen, and Mark. And then I graduated in 2008 and did that for a couple years. And we started the Bass Talk Live. I did a show in Oklahoma called something like the Oklahoma Outdoor Sports thing with Drew Smith for a couple years, live on the radio every evening. And then Mark started a Sirius XM show, which then transitioned into Bass Talk Live. So there was like 8 of us, included like Gary Judici, Blue Aaron Communications, Kenyon Hill, Brent Davis, Drew Smith, myself, Mark. And then it went to me, Mark, and Drew the next couple years. And then Drew kind of got out of the fishing scene. And then it was just me and Mark for like 8 or 9 years. Then we stopped going to the Elite Series because live coverage became a thing. And we were doing live coverage on the Elite Series. We're the first to ever do live coverage. Jeffries was the first. I say we, like he figured it out. And I was kind of like his grunt guy who like did all the work. So like the very first time was when Goldbeck and Shaw Grigsby were at, I think the Harris chain, and they were in the back of this deal. And we knew where they were fishing, and they were going into the third day. And we broke into a senior living center. Like we waited outside the gate with 2 tough books, a camera, a tripod, and 2 of the Wi-Fi hotspots. So when the gate opened, we slid in, and then we had an aerial map, a Google Earth map of where the houses were that was on the the little pond at the bayou where they were bed fishing. We knew one of them was going to probably win that event. And I literally walked up and knocked on the door, and a 75-year-old guy answered. And I was like, hey, man, there's like a big tournament going on in your backyard. And my name's Matt, and we do live coverage of these tournament events. Is there any way we could set up in your backyard and live stream it? And he was like, let me call my son. So his son like checked on the internet and was like, no, this is legit. So then we went up, we set up. All the neighbors came out. He actually rolled a freaking charcoal grill out back, cooked hot dogs for everyone. We had all these 70-year-old people out there. It was a legit party. We're on the bank. You got Goldbeck, Grigsby battling it out, catching fish, sight fish. I mean, this is 2008,
and
9.
Mark and Pang are filming a live stream in the back of a
live, right? No
center.
one knew. Like the only updates you would have is like, there would be a blog midday, like, so we ran in across so-and-so, and one of the photographers says he has a 6-pounder, and then the weigh-in. So, like, it just blew up because it was like word of mouth. It's like, hey, you can watch live fishing on your TV, and you're watching them sit up on the bed. So, like, I'm standing there with, like, this little flip camera with a tough book connected to a Firewire that was run through 3 systems that was then being sent through the SIM card back to Mark Jeffries, who was at the home base, who was running it through his programs, who was doing the play-by-play. And that was like kind of the start of all of it. So we did all that live coverage, and then we just basically like stopped doing it all, like as live coverage for everything got better and better. And just kind of, we still went to him through 18, but when that split happened with MLF and Bass, there really wasn't a lot of, podcasts, guys who are on the inside, who are in the know on how that stuff worked. So when that split happened, BTL went through the freaking roof because
I think that's
everyone
when I
wanted to know, we would have Edwin Evers making his announcement on live. And then the next day, KVD makes his announcement. And then Chris Zaldane decides to stay, and they would all go to BTL. And it was like the one source of news because we were tight with Bass and also sponsored by Duckett at the time. So we had like a lot of inside stuff on both, and the way Mark was doing it, he wanted to try to do it as journalistically as possible. So it never got into the weeds. So it always kind of stayed above. We would always just like let them say their piece and move on and not try to get into any of the controversy. So that's when it really blew up. And then like 4 years ago, one day, Jeffries just walked in and tossed his phone on the table, and he's like, you see that? And I said, yeah. And he had his like Merrill Lynch account open. And he goes, one time someone told me I'd never make that much in the fishing industry. And remember, he had 25 years of UPS and retirement. So everything he was making with the bass zone was just kind of gravy. And he goes, you see that number? He goes, I freaking made it. I'm done in October, or done in December. He's like, it's yours. And I was like, had just started a guiding business. I had done like 3 or 4 guide trips on Eufaula and Grand and stuff, like got the whole everything set up and had this whole plan. Had just started. I was the AFCO Bass Boot Camp guy, so I just fished the Toyotas and had made the championship and the FLW tour and all that, which all changed. And then I was like, holy crap, now I have to take over BTL, because I'd been living like a 21-year-old and I was in my 30s, right? So I just kind of took it over from there, and I've been doing it for the last 4 years. Moved into got a house 4 or 5 years ago in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Built out the studio, like the backdrop and stuff, like the colors, kept it all the same, kind of as an ode to the old BTL. Put my twist on it, and then just roll from there. We do like about 200 to 230 shows a year. So that's the long and short of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy. So what? How many years have you been covering bass fishing now? 20?
I went to every single Elite Series event from 2008 and through 2018.
So you're at like 17-ish years?
3 or 4 of those years I did all the FLW tours, and then 3 of those years I was also the PR guy, or the main PR guy for the PAA tour. So I went to all those and did all of that. And then for 2 years I was the pro team manager for Pure Fishing. So yeah, I mean, I'm freaking old. I'm 19 years in. full-time.
Yeah, but I mean, looking at it, I guess from my eyes, Pink, maybe you'd agree on this. Is there anyone who's seen more?
Yeah, yeah, there's tons. Well,
But like from the view,
like,
view as you as a whole, because you've been able to observe so intimately everything without like, there's other anglers who have maybe been involved in one realm more, but like you observed more during. I mean,
especially
a lot
like
of the peaks and the hillies and valleys, and yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of guys. Like I'm looking at a book here, like right now, like Rob Newell. Like, have you guys read that book?
I have not yet.
Egos, Logos, and Fishing Pros, an inside look at professional bass fishing in the modern era. I still have to read it too, but I mean, dude, there's a ton of guys that have been doing it. But I mean, a ton of guys that have been doing it for decades longer than I have, but a lot of them have been like with one organization or in, one capacity for a long time, not completely independent spread out over it. And then out of that, I've started fishing from, the Bass Nation stuff in the mid 2010s, Toyotas and Opens every year since 2019 on. So I'm 6-7 years into that too. So I've got 40 something, 30, 40 Opens and invitationals and Bass Nation championships and all that too. US Open, the whole 9 yards. So, I've experienced, my goal is to try to experience every single like position, job aspect on the water, off the water in the industry, just to help give you a better understanding of how it all works.
Yeah. Well, dude, so everyone talks about the primo ESPN years, right? Like back in that 08 to, I don't know, 08 to like 14?
Yeah.
Or something like that. What was it like for you traveling around covering that? Because at the time you're mid-20s?
It was really cool that I was early. I was like 23, 24. So I feel like it takes like 4 or 5 years to like really get in and at least begin to start to understand how things kind of work behind the scenes, which I'm still learning obviously on it. So I don't think I really appreciated the ESPN because I didn't I got to meet like Helen Sevier and that whole group before the Wrangler Angler stuff when I did the Casting Kids thing in 1998, but then I was out of it from like 98 to 2004, 5, 6. So I didn't really have the pre-ESPN days. And then I was just like so pumped to be there for the first 3 or 4 years before Copeland and McGinnis and that whole group bought Bass from ESPN there. So to me, that was like the normal because that's like where I first came in on. I didn't really understand like the machine that was behind that, like with the G-Man's Garage and the Bass Center and the ESPN Outdoors and the prime time selection and how much millions of dollars they're putting into it and losing every single year, trying to turn it into the next NASCAR and then have that monopoly.
Yeah. So like you traveled with the anglers, right?
Yeah, I roomed with I roomed with Kelly Jordan, Boyd Duckett, and Dean Rojas for 9 years at every single Elite Series event.
That had to have been wild. The amount of were you rooming with Dean when he set the record then?
No, that was way before that.
Way before that. That's okay. That's
but like when he won at Toledo Bend and stuff like that, like we're rooming together. He's not really like social with you. Like his whole thing is he believes in himself, his ability and his skill set, and any doc talk or outside influence that he get is going to alter that whether he likes it or not. So he would rather just not have communication with anybody and then fish a pure tournament than be struggling midway through day 2 and then remember, oh, I heard crankbait at the dock from the guy that I'm rooming with or something, and then go do that. He would rather just fish a pure tournament with his own thought process and decision making.
So, that's crazy. So cool. I can't even imagine all the different stories you have from being on the road, but like, and a lot of them I'm sure you can't tell. But so back in those days, so from those, let's say pre the split, like with the legends who now, there's a lot of them. Well, some are going into retirement still. Some are still doing great and stuff. Outside of maybe, who's the most underrated, just like diabolical guy out there?
What do you mean
like
diabolical?
Not your like pure good fisherman that like maybe didn't get maybe he didn't get the dues he did, or maybe
Faircloth, Todd Faircloth.
Okay,
he still is. Like he's insanely talented. Todd Faircloth is like the David Robinson of bass fishing, and he's totally fine with it.
That's a great basketball reference.
Yeah.
That is a really, really good reference. It went right over Pink's head, but that is a very good reference.
Yeah.
So back in those days, so people always talk about the sponsorships and the money in the industry, and obviously you don't need to say anybody's name or anything. What's the craziest, highest endorsement you ever heard of that maybe you don't know if it's 100% verified real, but like, or maybe it's one but like that those guys got?
I know, when Skeet started running the mega truck, the F650 and stuff like that, like I know there were rumors that there was, just to get your logo on that, just to be a part of that, it was 6 figures. And then back in the prime time or the heyday, like a lot of the guys made their money on their boats and motors. So like there were boat companies that, like, if you made the Classic, if you had a boat on a memo deal, so back in those days, 90% of the guys would have like a memo deal. So you'd get your boat, you'd have, Lowrance would rig it out and all that, and then you would start paying it at the end of the year, but you would sell it before that, and then you would make $10,000 or $15,000 on it. That guy would take it, you'd pay your boat off. If you didn't sell your boat, then you'd have to start making payments on it. But there are a lot of boat companies where if you made the Classic, they gave you your boat. So you would see like a lot of savagery at the end of the year from guys who were trying to make the Classic, not only to make the Classic and get the $10,000, but that was like a $50,000. That was their like payday, because if they made the Classic, they got the boat and motor, so they could then sell it and pocket it. Like it wasn't a memo deal. You didn't have to.
Yeah.
You didn't have to give that money back to them. And then there were other companies to where, like, you'd always hear at the end of the year, like, guys that just,
I've heard you talk about bonuses, like incentive.
Yeah, they were stressing out. So like the top finishing guy, like if you were the top finishing guy who ran an X boat on tour, you got to keep that boat in other ones. So you'd have guys who were like locked into the Classic who were just like super cutthroat. And you'd be like, well, why is this guy doing it? Well, this guy's fishing for $50,000-$60,000 this week, because if he beats Angler X,
if he takes 22nd, it's it.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think, I mean, like over time, obviously it's changed with like kind of how sponsorships and like even endorsements for some of these like tours are, are. But do you think, I know we've talked about on this podcast a bunch of times before, like how, it's just like over time, it's not like the payouts for this stuff has gone up and up and up and up. There's just not a lot of non-endemic sponsors to really drive that. But do you think there's a point where that could happen still in bass, or is it just like too far?
I think I don't know. After being in this, I think we have to take care of the fan base and the market that we have. And with expansion comes new problems. During that time, Bass and ESPN gets a lot of that credit, rightfully so. I mean, that was massive exposure on a international level. But you also remember that time you had Erwin Jacobs and FLW with the Walmart deals and the team deals. And I mean, I've got Denny Brower on a Wheaties box and Clark Wendlet on the Frosted Flakes box, and all sorts of insane outside the box marketing strategies with the National Guard teams and the team deals and everything that was going on. Camera angles, helicopters, live stuff, like a lot of this stuff that.
Did you ever, sorry to cut you off, did you ever ride in one of those helicopters?
Oh yeah.
Chasing down one of those boats
at Grand Lake. At Grand Lake, we were circling in Duck Creek when Jeff Cree was catching one at Carolina rig. It was pretty badass.
Okay, sorry, continue.
Which you don't have to now. I mean, you don't see that now because drones. But it's like, I feel like it's almost like fashion. It's like cyclical, right? So like Courtney's brother's in high school, and when I went and visited her over Easter, he's like wearing Jinko jeans. And I was like, Oh, no doubt. Like that's what I wore in high school, like the big giant bottom with like the Vans and stuff like that. So it's like, dude, like a lot of this stuff that we're seeing, like if you were to take it, like there was, and I'm doing a show on this in the 90s, there was a Walmart FLW tour at Beaver Lake, and the top 10 were introduced in an arena by Bruce Buffer. Like the Bruce Buffer. Like, let's get ready to rumble and stuff. It'd be like Randy Howell and stuff, like big time stuff. Where if you'd be like now, you'd be like, oh, we've made it. We got Bruce Buffer entertaining them. We're on end caps at Walmart. We got guys on Wheatie boxes. We've got all this stuff. Like that was done in the freaking 90s and 2000s.
Right.
And you have you have Disney and ESPN and all that behind it that's literally pumping it out as much as they can, putting it millions, investing millions and millions with the brightest marketing guys behind it in it. And they all said, hey, we're not seeing a return on that investment. And the FLW and the Walmart stuff eventually said, hey, we're not seeing a return on that investment. So in a idealistic world, what I like to think, this is capable of turning into a NASCAR or something like that. Yeah. In a realistic world, no, it's a pipe dream, because look at everything that's been tried before.
Sure. Yeah.
And take care of the ones that we have in the industry instead of turning them away or infighting within the industry, and make it as big as you can and bring small sections in.
Yeah.
I mean, totally MLF agree. Has tried it too and stuff. And like, dude, there's not I don't feel like there were a lot of people that weren't fans of the sport beforehand that were like, oh, catchway release and a scoreboard. Hell yeah, I'm in on that. Like, I've never caught a fish in my life, but let's go start buying boats.
That's fair. Yeah.
I do think in regards to the sponsorship side, like with those monies and endorsements, I think there's definitely a happy medium that like you said, like back in the early 2000s, 90s, we were way up here. And then obviously when the split happened, it goes way down here. I don't think we've leveled off yet in terms of like a sport where it's like, okay, this is actually where it's going to run. Like, I feel like we're in that process right now with a bunch of different stuff that is going on in the industry with kind of the reshaping of everything because of the adjustments to social media and also youth coming into the sport, just making that stuff different. So yeah, the money and stuff that was going around back then, I think is crazy, but it also, one thing like still to this day, I wonder on is, dude, those MLF Cup events and stuff they did on TV that they had everyone like not talk about, and they just came up and they were on Outdoor Network or whatever it was. That was very good. Like that, I felt like
really cool stuff.
I feel like that was closest to being like a NASCAR or some like sit down TV event where you're like, all right, let's see what happens that you'll have, but you can't do that again because of live.
Yeah.
Unless you did something completely different, you know.
I still think it's important to have like recaps of events. They're 4-day events. There's 8 hours of fishing. A lot of that stuff lives in those hour shows that are badass to watch with the intro and all that. Like, I know it's extra money, I know it's extra time, but in order to maintain the history, to remember Bill Weidler winning an Elite Series tournament, now there's billions of freaking hours of coverage after it. If you don't have that hour synopsis where you can go back and watch it, like that's just like lost to history.
Yeah, I 100%. I would love to see the hour, or even if they're 2.5 hours, I don't care. But just some edited after product.
Put some slow motion, some montages in there. Give you the freaking rundown on it. Like, I think that's an integral part that's missing. And you're also seeing that with like the anglers who are running lives on it. Like, I loved watching Chris's stuff, Zaldane. You can go back, like when they went to Fork this year, I went back and watched his like last 3 recaps of Fork, and they were like badass, well done, edited. Well, this year he just had like 24 hours of live. There's no like 30-minute video there. So like I'm not ever gonna go back and watch the live stuff, even though it's archived and he had good views on it. I want that nice little show, like a Brandon show or the old Bassmaster shows or something, where you see, Skeet running down the lake and it's like, does he win Angler of the Year this year? Find out in the next 40 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And I feel
there's definitely more hype in that for sure. Like
100%.
Yeah. And more like,
and dude, fishing is boring as hell for 99% of the time, especially like if you're viewing it.
Sure.
And pure chaos for that 1%. So if you can condense it all down into that 1% of chaos, that's how you make the legends. That's how you make the guys that are bigger than life. I mean, that's why KVD was, he was the freaking rise of the TV show and the internet and where it was. And you could sit there and freaking watch KVD just wreck on him. And it seemed like he caught him every damn cast.
Yeah. Like I think the first one I ever remember watching, it was like would be the Classic at the Delta.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember that one. But yeah, it was the shows. I think it's such a big thing. And the other thing now is, like, back in the day, there was so much cost with like production crews and everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many freelancers like me or Sobe or guys like that where they can be like, hey, here's, it's 8 cameras from 4 days, but your only job all year is you sit down and make a 2 hour show, and you hire someone for that. And there's plenty of people capable of doing that.
I think we're seeing like a little bit of a blip in the tournament industry too here, because you have like tournament anglers hating on tournaments and tournament anglers. Like,
is this so from the inside, but from the inside in, is what's going on now what was happening in 2018 with the split? Similar but different?
No, not at all, because this is different, because even in 2018, with the social media that was there, you didn't have a bunch of people who didn't know what the hell was going on trying to get views and clicks and talk about like they knew what the hell was going on. And the misinformation and the danger and the click rates and the views between TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and all that, you've got a bunch of people. I don't even have to be careful saying this. You have a group of people that people are listening to who do not know what the hell they are talking about.
Yeah.
And like to hear the sound of their voice and know that clickbait titles and controversy and stirring the pot is what's going to get them views. But they have to escalate that in order to keep getting views. Because if you do the same thing, it becomes my views are I'm proud of this. My views are very consistent on BTO.
Yeah.
But
you have a very loyal fan base.
I try to be very fair and even across it, and don't in everything. There's
no virality to it.
There's stuff that's in a locker room. You guys are athletes. You understand what I'm talking about here.
Thank you.
There's stuff that's in the locker room that stays in the effing locker room. Yes.
There's a line. And I feel like we talked about this on a show we did earlier this year with Mercer, but like there's a certain integrity level as a content creator, as a media person like you, Matt, where you have to be held accountable for what you put out and what your audience believes and does. And there's some level I feel like out there now where they just don't care. They're like,
and I
I'm
respect
just
the hell out of new
podcasts
and new people who are trying to make creative content, to do new stuff, to put it out there, to work their ass off. I don't care whether you're getting 2 views or 2 million views on it. There's a right way to go about it. There is a space for it. You can make your own space in the industry. Where I have a problem with those who are making it on, they do not care whether it is right or whether it is wrong, or they're doing videos based on other people's videos or what they heard or something like in a sense, StreamYard is the live scope of podcasting and media, because in 20 minutes, literally anybody can have it up. They can name it whatever show they want, the ultimate authority of tournament bass fishing insider news, presents the Elite Series is screwed. And it's just like, it's just easy to get it out there. And then it just takes one little thing to where they say that, and he says this, or one disgruntled angler shares it and posts it, and then it blows up. And now you've got all these guys. I don't want to say all these guys. I don't want to throw everybody under umbrella.
No, it's a small
you have
but loud
a section of guys that have gained validity with zero credentials, zero. And that's the fact of the matter.
Well, and that's like,
and it's such a small industry because there's no outside, and it relies on the industry to survive, that there's no one outside to fact check it or to call them out on it or to change it, because the industry's not big enough for it. If those shows existed, they exist in other sports where they are not associated with endemic or league sponsors. But the bass fishing game and the tournament bass fishing does not draw enough interest to support truly independent shows like that.
Well, and that's why I've always had so much respect for Bass Talk Live, and like what you and Mark built was because I always viewed you guys as the ESPN of bass fishing. Like if I wanted news that I knew was right, and like when it came out, it was like, okay, this is solidified. Like I
legit information.
This is legit information. I can go here. And that's like very good, and like major props to what you guys built. And I think, you know, maybe it's more work on your end and hiring little interns and employees or whatever it is. But I feel like there is a space right now where, like, you know, this, I don't know technically if the sport is bigger now than it was before in terms of viewership, especially with young people who are very impressionable. And I think there's a space for having something out there where it's like, okay, here's your Adam Schefter of bass fishing reporting news of, you know, oh, this guy just got DQ'd, heard from multiple sources. This is the reason. We'll update later. And or whatever it is you put out something, like, I know from knowing you very well, Matt, is you don't talk about something on the show unless you talk to that person, or you have multiple people give you very validated reports. Whereas right now you have people with, like, you talk about the journalistic integrity. You have a lot of people right now who put stuff out there because they heard someone heard it. That's not
and
journalism.
They want to be first to it, so they get it. And I just want to make sure that I'm saying this clear. I don't think that there is an oversaturation of fishing stuff that will take care of itself. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of YouTube channels in every genre and every channel on TV, and the views and the quality of the content and the interest of it culls them out eventually. Like, I am all for, like, just northern guys. Like, you guys do your own thing that's totally different than it. Heck, I love I'll listen to Teal's Bass Scout. Like, that's a totally different vibe. Like, I really like that show. Like that. I mean, he's doing his own thing. I like watching Hella Bass. Like, Rich has carved out a nice little niche for himself up there. Those are just the northern ones. There's guys that are all over the country.
Bailey was Serious Angler.
Yeah, they work their ass off. But they're all trying to do their own thing without either like I said, copying, or B, exploiting the industry.
Yeah. 100%. You give into it what you get out of it.
But
so, I mean, I'm maybe overly passionate about this because it has been my whole life, and I understand, like, you could look at it and go, guys, it's freaking fishing. But I mean, it's my full-time job.
No, but I think it's a really important thing to talk about, Panger, because, like, we watch a National Walleye Tour and stuff going on there right now. And other, you know, we're involved in the ice fishing industry. Like, there's all these other sections, right? You're diehard in the bass industry right now and do some crappie fishing stuff as well. But we're so plugged into a couple different ones right now. The tournament bass fishing industry, that's the only one this is happening in. Right
by far the most drama, for sure.
No, so it happened in crappie. Everything imploded. Trails imploded. Guys quit. People got caught cheating. Payouts weren't made. Fights, like the whole 9 yards. Like, the crappie thing went through it 3 years ago.
I'm saying on the media side of things. Where,
on the media side of things.
People are doing
well, that's because the bass fishing's the biggest. That's what the most people care about. It's still not big enough to have the outside, like to have people unconnected to it care about it, but it's just because it's the biggest one.
100%. So you're seeing that first there, and you might see it elsewhere too. But it's you having the passion for it and being like, okay, how do we get out of this funk, or how do we get by this funk?
And we're out of it. It's a freaking bubble. Like I went to that international. I talked to I was on Jon Stewart's not the Jon Stewart, former Bass Nation director on Kansas Bass Nation, home of the worst lake in the country, Milford Lake. I always give it a shot when I can. Dude, Pink, get this. I went there, I fished a regional. I caught 3 fish the first day. I was in 7th place. I zeroed the second day. I only dropped to 12th. I caught 1 fish third day and jumped up to like 11th. I caught 4 fish in 3 days, finished second in my state, and out of over 100 boats, finished in the top 15. That sucks.
Sounds like Carlisle in Illinois.
I fished the heck out of Carlisle. I don't even know where I was going with this. You got me fired up.
You were stuck
to the damn Bachelor Party.
You said that the
internationally
the drama. You said we're out of the bubble.
Go to this deal, dude. Like those guys, they don't know what the hell's going on. They just want to be able to come to America and freaking bass fish and follow the Elite Series and follow MLF and get a picture with these guys and follow their YouTube channels. Like that's their freaking dream to do it. It's so big to them. It's bigger than life. Like, and these are the hardcore bass anglers from Central America and South Africa and stuff like that. And like, you appreciate how fortunate you are that you're in the country that has it, that you have the passion, that you have it. And then we're self-cannibalizing about insignificant things. Like people just take for granted that bass is always going to be there, that the Bassmaster Classic is always going to be there. That's a private organization that is run by a small group of people. It's not a multi-billion-dollar company that has fail-safe procedures for it. Like, there are a couple people away from just going, you know what, screw it, this isn't worth it anymore, and just cannon the whole thing. Now you want to, and I'm guilty of this too in the opens, but now you want to bitch and moan about this, and this. Great, this stuff doesn't exist anymore. Have fun like building that up from the ground up from the 1960s again.
Yeah, literally restart.
Yeah,
it's a couple plugs unpulled.
Like everybody has to hold the organization accountable while at the same time maintaining the integrity and mystique of the organization. Because regardless of what everybody says, if you're fishing a bass tournament, there is a driving force of, well, maybe I'll cross that classic stage. Maybe I'll find a bite. Maybe I'll be in contention for it. Like, that doesn't happen because I know I don't know anybody who's been like, hey, what do you want to do? Man, I want to be a Red Crest champ. It's not because Red Crest sucks. It's not because MLF sucks. It's because they don't have the history there. It's because they don't have the prestige. It's because they don't have the decades built up and built up and built up. But it seems like right now there's a bunch of people that are trying to take a hammer and chisel and pound away on that history and pound away on that prestige and break it down instead of, like I said, holding it accountable, which is always difficult, but building it up and preserving and protecting what so many of us, dedicate so much of our time to.
Well, I mean, it's the foundation of the sport, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, I get what you're saying there. No doubt.
So,
like, why do you want to see? Why do so many people on YouTube want to see bass burn?
I don't know.
Bass burns. They're the same. They're the same dumbasses who 2 weeks later will come out with a video about how much they miss bass and how bass needs to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Anglers are guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. I'll call Hank and give him a freaking earful about a rules decision or why did this happen and not that happen, which I think is necessary. We pay that money. You owe that. But you also have these voices that don't have any skin in the game.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Part of the reason why I fish the opens is so I have skin in the game.
So you can go talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's very fair. So, like, looking at that, right? You were down in Mexico, and you're like, okay, they still view this as, the top.
Yes. It is. It's
well,
not viewed.
Well,
I mean,
and
it
it
is
is.
the top.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And they have that. Some people view right now that it isn't. And you have like all these high schoolers and college kids coming out. Like that's still the dream. Like that's all they want, and they're just ignoring everything. So. On media side, like with what we do and say people who are aspiring to make a podcast, do fishing content or whatever out there, like what would you and Jeffries, being the guys who like kind of built the media side of this, say, like, what's the path forward for us of like getting past that? You get what I'm asking? Like getting past that, you just ignore it? Do you address it? Do you just keep doing the factually based stuff and act like it doesn't happen? Or you get what I'm saying, Pink?
Yeah, I don't have a good answer for that. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's like a whole new world with that. I got on Facebook. I said this. I talked about this with Frank tonight on the BTL that I did. And I got on like Facebook for the first time in like over 6 months, like probably almost a year. Because there's a video of Andrew and I catching a 10-pounder. And someone messaged me. It was like, damn, they're hammering you in the comments. And I assumed it was like the live scope comments and stuff like that. Right. But like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, there wasn't really a way to like directly, like, I believe First Amendment, freedom of speech, that whole 9 yards. But like, there wasn't a way that you could just like directly say shit. You know what I mean? Which in a way was good. So this is one of the, I'm going to read it. This is one of the messages. And I caught that fish on scope. Damn proud of it. Insanely technical fish catch. 10-4. One of the most technical fish catches I've ever had, as far as pulling the fish off the bottom, where it was, the cast, the wind, the whole positioning, everything. This dude says, that's not fishing, morons. That is a game that less capable people play to make themselves feel better and relevant, when in other case you would be watching people like me. You get that happy when you actually fish for them using instinct, the actual experience to locate it. You act like you beat Mike Tyson on Mike Tyson's one punch on Nintendo. You're the guy that couldn't get off the bench in high school sports and probably couldn't get girls either.
Jesus.
Like, that's the problem. So
he just got you, Panger. I don't know
responded.
if you can come back from that one. You responded.
Oh yeah, I responded.
From the top rope.
I said, Roku, whatever, Roque Mata. Roque Mata is his name. I said, I'd like to extend an invitation for you to be on the BTL podcast and dive into your analysis live on air. Shoot me a DM and we'll get it booked.
Make it happen.
But I mean, I would be interested. I would be very interested if this is an organic, original opinion from this guy, or if he's consuming a lot of clickbait material. And you could take that outside of the fishing realm into the world realm and anything else. But I would venture to say, I don't know. I don't know. That's where I'm kind of at a loss. Like, is that this guy that's like this, or is he watching every one of Guy's videos that posts 4 times a day with outrageous titles and says outrageous things so he can continue to have his revenue stream come in because Facebook isn't pushing 1 or 2 videos a day? Or is he, you see what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
Like, is this like a trail of the degradation of what you're seeing, the results of the clout chasing and basically it's ambulance chasing. In some cases, it really is ambulance chasing.
Yeah. That did happen. But yeah, I think I battle between it all the time. Like, we had our show with Mercer and we talked about a bunch of stuff. But I think there is also a thing to it, like, of just blocking it out and being like,
yeah,
whatever.
I block it out too. Like I said, that's the first time I've been on there in a year.
But I'm saying, like, the community in general,
I've ever made.
The community in general, because it's also like, you ain't gonna win. Like, you're not gonna win that argument. And even if you make him look like a fool, he thinks he looks like incredible because he's never gonna believe it.
Just to put a bow on it,
I
don't think I don't think bass fishing's in a bad spot. I think it's in a very interesting spot from a media standpoint, from a content standpoint, from a coverage standpoint, and from a technology standpoint. I think a lot of people forget that a lot of the guys who were in this at the inception are still alive. This is a very young sport. This doesn't go back to the 1700s or the 1800s or anything. I mean, this is the 1960s. And it has always been evolving with technology, from window weights to flashers to paper graphs to mapping to all that. This is all a fluid situation. And I'm interested to see where it goes and excited to see where it goes, because the more it evolves and the more it changes and the more things happen, that's job security.
Yeah. You got something to keep covering. Mm-hmm. And we love doing this and covering it.
I look at the outside world though, like Pink, like you're a bass fisherman, but you're also an outdoorsman and a hunter, and bass fishing isn't your whole life. It's a portion of your life, right?
Absolutely. Right. Yep.
This has to look from the outside world in, if you take a step into this bubble, just absolutely asinine. Like just batshit crazy.
Well, to your point, right? Like you're saying, I mean, from people that are, in Central America or whatever watching this and saying this is still like the pinnacle of the sport, the whole thing. It still is like amazing to see like how much internal negativity there is. But like it's not only in bass fishing, right? Like there's so much of that on the hunting side of things too, where you got, people just like there's so much internal hate within the sport itself. And like, I mean, I don't think that there's as much like you can point at individual people necessarily in some of these other parts of the industry where you're like, these are the people that are really causing like a lot of negativity to come out. But I just think that's just the outdoor industry as a whole right now. Just is like, and if you look at all different parts of it, there's so many people that want to see some of this stuff fail that it's like, it sucks because there's a lot of people, the vast majority of people that are like recreational in all of that stuff, hunting, fishing, bass fishing, tournaments, whatever. Like there's a ton of people that do like fish Tuesday nighters and stuff, and they love tournament bass fishing, and they're like, they're never going to fish the Elite Series or the Opens or whatever. And they just love it. And they want nothing to do with all this drama and bullshit. They probably don't even listen to it or read it online, And it's like, there's like a minority of the top of the industry that's so involved in all of this conversation that like it seems like it's everywhere. Like everyone must think this, but like to your point, it's like it's not that way.
A lot of guys don't even know this is going on, and they consider themselves fans of the sport.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like even though on the media side where it's like if you're consuming all this stuff and you're seeing it every day, it seems like God, it's just like running rampant in this thing. But it's like I don't think that's the case. Like it's just
I think there's about 20,000 people that follow it. Like what I would say
out of the millions of people that fish.
Exactly. I think there's 15 to 20,000 people that follow the everyday inner workings of the trails and know what's going on and know that Jacob Wheeler just won on Kentucky Lake and that Tenkiller starts tomorrow and that Jason Christie's a favorite of it and that Bass is making a ruling on forward-facing sonar.
Yeah.
There ain't that many people.
No. And there's just so many more people that love to fish, and periodically they're like, oh, this tournament thing is sweet. And they watch some videos or they're going on a trip to Lake of the Ozarks with their family for spring break. And they watch a couple videos of some people that won tournaments out there and like, oh, this is so cool.
Yep.
Like they're not all consuming. Like I think a lot of us are where it's like, we're watching all this stuff. You feel plugged into the whole thing, but
it's a great point. And it's also, I like to make this point a lot. You have to consider the health of the overall of the sport. But when it comes down to it, we're all individual sole proprietor LLCs, and we're all going to pull for what we think is best for us individually. And I know how much I feel that way. And like I said, I'm not even married yet. I don't have kids. I don't have a family. Like I couldn't imagine on some of this stuff that's controversy. If I have a mortgage, I'm in debt, I'm fishing a major trail, I got 3 kids, one's about to go to college, and I know my career is probably over in the next year unless there's major rule changes, because there's no way that I can adapt that quickly. I could understand how that could get real ugly real quick in trying to what's best for you right now to survive.
Well, yeah, you start fighting for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get a bunch of guys who are just fighting for themselves, and you're going to have disagreements. I mean, that's also the same reason why guys get smoked with a helmet at a NASCAR race. It's not typically just a one-off thing. I mean, there's a long history there and reasonings behind it. And there's a group of NASCAR people who follow that and understand why guys getting this and this crew chief hates that crew chief and all that stuff. But I don't care. When I log on, I just want to see a good race and guys go at it at the end.
Yeah. Well, and that's where you see, like, on the sponsorship side, like maybe you're seeing shifts in the marketing approaches, because like we see with the Crappie Chronicles or Sobe sees whatever walleye videos he puts out or just bass fishing videos. There's a lot of people who just like fishing.
Yeah,
like
100%. Yeah, that hasn't changed at all. And they don't
like
care where they are. You're not watching it to try to figure out. You're just looking for good content. You want to relate with the boys and have a moment to where if you're at home and you have a lot of stress, a lot going on in your life, it's a way that you can relate to the boys and feel like you're in northern Minnesota around a campfire, cleaning a 4-man limit of walleye for a brief moment, take your mind off things, relieve some stress, and then get back to the real world.
Yeah,
100%.
exactly. Like it boils down to it, but it's like, yeah, the fact that it's like, you surround yourself with people that are so ingrained in the sport. It's hard to go backwards and be like, what is it like when you're just starting out, being on the outside looking in, just fighting for that one weekend a year to be on the water, you know?
Yeah, 100%. All right, we'll put a bow on this in a sec, Panger, but I got to ask this because this is a question Sobe would have 100% ask. So with all that said and everything going on and everything, where do you think we're at in 3 to 5 years from now? Like, is the Elite Series all 35-year-old and younger? Is, you know what I mean? Like,
I honestly, I have no clue.
Okay.
I'm following it just like everyone else.
Let's take a little bit better Sobe spin on this. Okay, give us your hopes, fears, and dreams for the next 3 to 5 years in tournament bass fishing.
In tournament bass fishing, yeah. I think that's great. Yeah.
Hopes are that the majority of the industry feels like there is stability, and that's in the retail side and the tournament side. That's the biggest thing. Stability in boat sales, tackle sales, organizational structure. That's got to be the hope. Hopes, what? Dreams?
Fears.
Yep. Fears and dreams.
Fears?
Yeah.
Fears are that it just all implodes and there's no tournament fishing. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I mean, there's going to be competition from the caveman days. You know, there's been competition to see who the best hunter is. There will always be competition. My fears are my
3 years Pangers are just showing up to a random lake with 10 guys there who are each throwing down 10K, and you're like, I'm the only guy who can cover this event.
My fears are that the classic itself, the Bassmaster Classic, the crown jewel, the pinnacle of the sport, will slowly be whittled away to where it will lose the allure, the mystique, and the importance that it once had, that drove the industry, that drove the everyday weekend federation nation angler, and that made careers out of anglers to where they were building their careers around it. Those are my fears on that. I still think that one trophy is incredibly integral to the whole inner workings of this thing, more so than a lot of people realize. That's just my opinion. Hopes, fears, and dreams.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dreams are I can string 3 freaking good opens together and do exactly what I do and maintain it, but experience the only thing in this damn sport that I haven't yet, which is competing at the Elite Series level and making a classic.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's legit. I like that a lot. I like the classic answer. I think that's very underrated. People don't realize how important that is. I'll probably be going to my first one ever next year.
The whole industry revolves around the Bassmaster Classic, and the whole industry that includes MLF.
Yeah.
It all revolves around the Bassmaster Classic. Those guys' careers were made at Bassmaster and the Bassmaster Classic and the quest for the Bassmaster Classics.
That's valid. That is true.
That's why the Bassmaster Classic is still the Bassmaster Classic, but I fear that, like I said, people are trying to take little bites out of it, little chunks out of it.
Do you think there's anything to it, like Jeffries has talked to you on shows before, of moving it around in terms of dates? Or does it need to stay in that March time frame?
I mean, dude, the classic Legend and Lore took place in the damn summertime.
Yeah.
When they had the classic in the summertime. And that also goes for Bassmaster. Bassmaster needs to understand how important that classic is.
Yeah.
And they need to put resources in it to build it up, to promote it, to make it for those anglers that are in it, not just, hey, you get a free lunch and a plaque and a watch. Make it like it used to be. Because the Bass Nation's getting watered down. A lot of the tournament stuff's getting watered down. It's that stuff that makes it important to that angler, that makes them feel special as paid customers of that organization, that adds to its value.
Yeah.
It's the people that make it what it is. And the organization needs to and the people need to understand that that's something that needs to be protected.
I guess I think a great way of doing that is moving it around to new places where you get new people, new blood, and new stuff in there where, they get caught with like the infection of like, I need to be here. I need to be a part of this. And the only way you do that is moving away from we go to Hartwell. Now we go to, like, Knoxville's super cool. I'm excited to go back there, but now we go to Knoxville. Now we go to Texas. Now we go to Grand Lake,
I hope I didn't sound like old and grumpy and way off touch and out of base there. That whole segment.
I think that was all great, actually.
Well, that was good. And I think I like your point about how, like, people that are trying to break it down need to really maybe take a step back and realize where it all came from and all that too.
Well, if it goes away, they're all really screwed. So what are you really fighting for?
I still like that quote. Like when we had Mercer on, I liked that quote a lot where he's like, you never turn on the sport,
Yeah.
And that's especially in one that's this small.
Yep.
Yeah. And I tell you what, if I learned anything from this podcast and from Panger, it's that tomorrow's episode will be named Pangrac Blacks Out at Bart's Bachelor Party. And
I swear to God.
and incites crimes on bass fishing YouTube News Central guys. I think that's good. I think we'll be able to hit that.
I literally I told you before this when I talked to you today that I was disappointed that I didn't loosen up a little bit more at the bachelor party.
That's all you. There was plenty of booze.
Know. There was a lot of opportunity.
I 1,000% know there was, but I just did my standard couple brews, was feeling tired, little Irish goodbye, slide off, hit the sack. No harm, no foul.
You still had a really good time, though.
Yeah, no, I had an absolutely great time.
See, the key is with you, Matt. The one thing I've learned about you over the years is that in order to get like riled up and stuff, you have to like actively do that task for a little while, and you get so scatterbrained of like, oh, now I'm gonna go grab crawfish. Now I'm going over here. I'm gonna go walleye fishing. I'm gonna go do this.
I'm not as bad as
you lose
Barney,
the task of what.
I'm not as bad as Spock, am I?
No, but
I say that in all loving. Like I would fish with Spock any day.
Spock is incredible. You need to,
and then I would give him a biscuit and tell him he's a good boy.
We need Spock in a southern crappie fishing tournament with you.
Oh yeah.
He would hate. I mean, it's high bypass on 10, looking for a dot 3 foot below the surface, and we might see 4 a day. He would lose his mind because he would not understand what was going on.
Oh, it would be incredible though. It would be so good. Spock's the best.
He's
He
actually
really
really good at fishing too. Like,
he's
really good. Like the way like he outfished everyone in my boat with a hair jig. He caught more walleye than everybody.
You put Spock around
like 6 days a week, dude.
Spock catches fish.
Yeah. You can kind of tell on. I would imagine that anybody who watched any of us swing a golf club, if they were on tour or anything, would be like, not tour material. You can watch a guy the way he handles a fishing rod and make 2 casts, and you can tell whether that guy can fish or not.
Yeah.
True. Like, no doubt. Like he picked it up and he's like, whoa, shoo. You're like, okay.
That was a great pairing in that boat that night. We were all chilling. At the fire, and I was like,
everybody.
I would love to know what a boat of my brother Daniel, Sobe, Matt Pangrac.
Oh, Sobe and I were hyping each other up so big.
Spock is like now. Like it's
Sobe's infectious, man. Like you get Sobe's such a positive dude, like a genuinely positive dude. Like you'd have thought it was the first walleye he'd ever caught. He'd be like, you get that walleye in the boat, man. And I mean, it'd come in and it was just hugs all around. It's a 15-inch walleye just on the bottom. You thought it was the first eater that he'd ever seen.
Yeah. I love it.
That was great. That was great. Thank you for your time, Panger.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is fun.
I think that was beautiful. It was fun.
Pink, you still owe me a crawfish boil.
I do owe you one.
Unfortunately, you'd never come up to me. Minnesota has to be, well, I guess you have the opens.
Can we trap them under the ice?
You're very well frequented to Minnesota now. You come a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to come down your way and we'll just order them up, dude.
Yeah, it's like a specific time of the year and stuff. I got some ins. You can get like a gunny set. So I actually thought about ordering like 30 pounds and just shipping it up to Minnesota.
Technically illegal. Don't do that.
That's the problem, dude.
Like from a place to eat?
Yeah.
Pink
like if I had like a place in Louisiana that I could just call and get 30 pounds of crawfish, I legally couldn't bring them up to Minnesota?
Yes.
Really?
It's illegal to import them into Minnesota.
Even for food?
Even for food.
What if they're dead?
I don't think it matters unless they were
really.
Already
I never
cooked.
Even knew that.
Yeah.
I'm always scared to go to new states and break laws.
Yeah. Well, that's one of them.
That would never have crossed my mind.
But there's people in Minnesota that trap them and sell them too. Like we could get them here,
Because I know I've researched the laws extensively before I put my hands on a rusty.
Yeah. Obviously. I can tell by the way you were handling them very legally.
Yes. I was not molesting the rusties. Nothing worse than a rusty molester.
Ely will never be the same, dude.
And on that note, thank you for listening to another episode of Pass the Barb. Tune in next time.